Hi, welcome back to the Out of Spec podcast. For those who are legacy listeners, you may remember the early shows, which were 4 people, myself and Kyle and Mike and Ben. We are all 4 back together in the podcast studio, which is years later now. Mike and Ben are here from North Carolina, but actually by way of Seattle, which we'll get into because you bought a car. And since our life typically revolves around cars in general, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Talking about your EVs, your new EV, which is actually pretty old, and it's actually out on a range test right now, which will be kind of fun to keep an eye out. And yeah, lots of fun things to jump into. So let's jump right in. I can't believe
that's such a Colton move. You can't do that.
This episode is made possible by the support we get from Fort Collins Kia. If you are in the market for any electric Kia, not only do they never add market adjustments, they will deliver your car to you anywhere in the 48 contiguous states for out-of-spec viewers. More information in the link in this episode's description.
So, welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Happy to be back. How was your trip? I mean, this, let's see, 1,400 miles from Seattle to here.
Correct. Wow, good.
It is that far.
That's what the trip computer says.
I did that trip twice in the Lucid, so I remember it fondly.
Well-versed.
That Lucid, we really piled the miles on that thing. We had it for, just a few months. No, they still have it. I was just there with Alyssa at the headquarters, and it was parked in the front of the building.
Dang. Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
So we could have just held on to it.
I know.
We need it for range tests.
I know. Why did they take it back?
I know. Should have been a 2-year loan.
Yeah. Well, as soon as we did the hogbacked ADAS challenge, they're like,
Yeah, once we got all the range stuff in, then they're like, oh, let's get it back.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys just picked up an old Model S.
Yeah.
Yes,
2019 Model S standard range. They've had them for like 4 months.
Super rare.
Very rare.
So the standard range, and by the way, we haven't mentioned the mileage, but it's insane.
Yeah, that's honestly the reason we bought it. It was like hilarious.
So it's 2019. So
it's a Raven car.
They used to only come at that time period as long range or performance, and this is like after P100D, after 100D,
after 75.
Same batteries.
Same batteries.
They did the front motor is a permanent magnet motor. And then the rear is an induction. Yep. So they got one pedal driving. It was the first Model S with one pedal driving.
Exactly, yeah. So it's Model 3 rear motor up in the front, essentially, of the Model S.
Okay. And you have the standard range, which is...
a 75 kilowatt hour battery. So it's the 75D with an upgraded, more efficient motor, essentially.
And your dad has a 75D.
Yes, he does. He's got a 2016. Actually, that car has unlimited free supercharging, in fact.
Oh, yeah. I forgot it still does.
So
he
maybe you
travel
should
ever.
swap.
I was going to say that'd be.
He never drives far, so it's not.
He just charges at home.
Yeah.
But his car got a software update at one point, but it had to go into Tesla to get the uncork.
Yeah, when it got the uncork, that was a fun time. That was when Tesla was really doing some interesting stuff.
Yeah, you could like actually bring your car in. That was for whatever reason it couldn't be done over the air.
Drive inverter or something was not.
And then they made it like a second and a half or more faster to 60.
I think it was from 5.2 to 4.2 seconds.
Was it a second?
Yeah,
it was a massive difference.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Yeah, they got rid of that like slow ramp off the dead stop.
Yeah, because
big difference.
It didn't like make more power. It just gave it to you at 0.
Yeah,
and so now your car has. So didn't they do standard range as software lock as well?
They did. So you could do a software lock, standard range. Apparently, those are the unicorns. There's like 3 people on the forums who confirm that they exist, and everyone's like, "Are you sure?" No one really seems to believe
it. And they're
it.
100 packs.
They were 100 packs, yeah, software lock, or in some cases a 90.
Huh.
It might have been whatever they had in the factory.
Not a lot of information
because there weren't 90s for a long time at that point from Tesla. I mean, 2016 was the last 90.
Yeah. Yep, I think it was 16, maybe some.
And then
17
it was just 75 and 100D for a while, and then, yeah.
And I remember they did 90 and 100 at the same time.
Yep.
For a short period.
Yeah, there's also that weird overlap.
There's people now of their early Model S P85s who are going in for pack replacements, and they're getting 100s or 90s, so they're getting like a P90, P100 badge.
Yeah, I've seen that, but the 90s have pretty high degradation.
Yep.
And weird so do the 75s were not great either.
So I thought, yes, which maybe we can get into that a little more.
So your car, let's just hit it off with the mileage.
So it has
Yes.
251,000 miles after this drive here.
From a 2019.
From a 2019.
Yeah.
When we bought it 2 days ago, it had 250,353 miles on it.
So someone was like, I'm going to keep this thing a quarter miles and then trade it
That's
in.
what we.
I think so.
Ben and I talked about them the way over. We think whoever owned it, it's a one-owner car.
Wow.
They bought it and they're like, well, it's so close to 250, we might as well just keep it till we get there. And when they got there, they ended up selling it, and then we ended up buying it.
And so they traded it to CarMax.
Yeah,
And
they
that's
just
how
sold
you
it to
guys
us.
got it. Yeah.
Yep,
How much you pay for it?
$9,000.
$9,000. Yeah, $9,300
That's pretty cheap for a Tesla.
for a model for a
any car,
2019
for a
Model
running
S.
car.
Yeah,
Yeah, like Model S has had 1,000 iterations and versions, and so like a lot of us have had them too. Like my dad had that Gen 1 P85 Plus, and then
Mike had one too.
yeah, Mike
yeah. I had a 2014 P85 Plus.
I remember that.
Yep.
And
When I moved here to Raleigh, North Carolina, I was going to say here, not here,
Yeah.
to Raleigh, North Carolina. Yeah, we drove that car from Memphis to Raleigh.
yeah, it was after the 5 Series manual.
Yep, I sold the 5 Series manual to buy that car instead.
Yeah, that was a cool car though, the 535.
Oh man,
It was a weird build though.
It was a 535 rear-wheel drive manual, no sport options on it at all, apart from the manual,
Right.
and that was it.
And normally all the manuals had like the enthusiasty stuff on them.
Yeah, normally they'd have like M Sport pack or at least sport seats. This just had the normal comfort seat.
I remember that.
Not even like the multi-adjustable one. It was like the standard 8-way one.
Yeah.
It was super strange.
And then right, so you got the Model S after that, but you
Yeah.
guys have had a bunch of EVs over the years.
Yep.
Yeah,
I just hit it with a just.
No, I want to talk about your trip.
All right.
yeah. We'll go back. We'll go
So
back. into
back to the Model S situation. So and then so they did the nose cone cars. Autopilot 1 came in September 14.
2014.
it. My 14 did not have autopilot.
Right. It was like midway or more than midway through the year 14 Autopilot 1. Then facelift happened in early 16 because you could still get
16.5. Yep.
AP1 facelift.
Yep.
Then AP2 launched in October 16. And then there was really nothing until your
Until
version.
the
The
Raven
19.
update.
There was
Yeah.
battery packs like P100D Ludicrous launched and
Yeah.
all that stuff, and that was really cool. That was an exciting time.
That was pretty
Oh
fun.
yeah. I remember you were driving a P100D Ludicrous.
Yeah.
When I was visiting once.
That's right. You used to be able to spec non-ludicrous P100Ds.
Yeah.
It was an option. Was it $25,000? It was a lot.
I think it was only for inventory. I think they forced you to order P100DLs, but you could get an inventory
Yeah,
non-L.
I've seen.
I thought it was 10
them
grand.
both ways. Yeah, I thought it was 10 grand too. It was not inexpensive.
Yeah,
but I remember you had one. That was like the fast at the time. That was the fastest car I'd ever been in.
Well, I remember Ben and I used to like.
Whenever
he
you
drove
went
it a
to
bunch,
lunch,
too.
yeah, you guys took that
full
car.
rip
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, that car's good.
Launches everywhere.
Yeah, that was when, and we took it to the drag strip, and
Yeah, we just did everything.
that was fun.
I had an X90D.
Yeah, you had a
took that thing
terrible
off-roading.
Model X.
Oh, yeah,
it
your
was-
Model X.
Hang on. I will not stand for my Model X slander. Titanium over beige leather with the beige wood. 7-seat, which I will agree is the worst seating
And
configuration.
it was the early 7C where
Yes.
every seat had
Every
the
Oh,
seat
it was
was
so
powered,
bad.
Yeah. Your rearview mirror, if you put all the seats and headrests up, you couldn't see anything out of the back window.
No,
It was
so
pointless.
bad.
But it did have a power spoiler. Before they got rid of that too.
Yeah, but it's rare to find a power spoiler non-performance early one. There's one
Yes.
here in town.
Yeah,
It
was
is
VIN
rare.
number 1800 that car, so it was like a really early X. And
So both
it was
you
bad.
and I got them because they had huge lease deals on them.
Yes. Oh yes.
That's how I did my P100.
Yeah, that's right. Your employee lease
Do you
deal
remember
was
your number? Because I
crazy.
remember my number.
I think mine was like $50,000 or $60,000
Oh,
off.
discounted.
Yeah.
Do you remember your lease?
Oh no,
My lease was 275.
your lease was better than my
yeah,
lease. Yeah,
275 with
Not
I
by
think
much
$2,000
though.
down.
Yours for what your car was at the
I
time,
think it was like 500 or
dang.
something. It was a really
Yeah,
crazy
it was
deal.
like
It was
400
still
or
like
500 bucks.
yeah.
I know
still
that
good.
I lease swapped out of it
Yeah.
when I left working for Tesla, and some guy wrote me a check for $18,000 to assume the lease.
That's what I did too. I didn't know you did the same thing.
Yeah,
That sounds like my e-tron situation, which
Yeah.
we can talk about
Yeah.
a little later on too. But
but that was an exciting time.
That was when Tesla was really booming and like enthusiasts were into it. Like there was not a lot of
It was still small.
yeah, it was small. You know, it was like, and you go to a supercharger and it was exciting to see other cars there. You're
Right,
like,
and
oh my
you
God,
like
someone
started
else
to
has
get to
one.
know the people there too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
So your car is sort of the last step before. Is it Palladium? Is that what they call the new
Palladium.
ones?
Yes.
So my Model S now is a Palladium.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
So this is the last of the vertical screen, basically, if you want to think of it
which
that way.
I prefer.
I am big happy with that, honestly.
After reusing it on the trip, 'cause I thought for sure I would prefer the one in the Palladium cars, like very similar Model 3, Model Y.
Yeah, but $9,000. So
Yeah, exactly.
cares?
And then as
That's
soon
$20,000.
as I started using this one again, I'm like, oh, this screen is actually still really good. Like it's MC2, so it's super zippy, super responsive.
Yeah.
It's honestly just super.
did it come
easy to use.
MCU too?
That one
Yeah.
did, because it was 2018.
So
was when they
it's
switched
autopilot
over.
2.5.
Autopilot hardware 3 in this
It's
car
got
with
3.
full self-driving.
Because we didn't mention this car has the full self-driving software in it when we
you can
bought it.
buy full self-driving for less
for
than
the price of the
actual
car.
option, but you get a car included.
Okay, so you know how everyone's like FSD is going to approve, or not everyone. There's a subset of people that are like, FSD is going to help the value of the car in the used market. If they use your car as logic, your car is worth $-
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's a little bit.
I can assure you, having FSD does not add value to your car in
Right.
the used car market. It just doesn't at this point. Anyway.
That is because you are a. Can we say what you do for work without getting in trouble?
I would just say that I source inventory for CarMax, but
Yeah, you know how
Yeah,
to
you
buy
already
a car.
mentioned it, but
you
yeah.
buy a lot of cars.
yeah, I do. And I see a lot of cars come through. So I mean, I know for a fact that having FSD, it's like any other major option on a lot of other luxury brands, does not necessarily add a ton of value to the vehicle to everybody.
Right. It's
put
a
it that way. And
subset of people that will, if you have two
that
Model
look for
3s that
that,
are,
yes.
let's just say $25,000 and they're identical cars and one has FSD, it's a more desirable car at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
who's ever looking
tiebreaker.
for it will appreciate it, but there are a number of people buying used cars for back of $30,000. They probably are not necessarily looking for, does it have FSD or does it have this major option?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
So your car, what's the history on it? Do we know? Like you mentioned, one owner. Where did it live?
So
With
it's a one owner car, and that was from Renton, Washington, its whole life. It's never left Washington. Well, it must have left at some point. It has 250,000 miles on it.
Maybe.
But-
Got outside of there somehow.
But yeah, I have no idea other than that anything much about the owner. I don't work at that store, so
All I know is it's not an Uber, thank God.
Yeah,
we don't think
so,
it was.
I mean, you
The
can
rear
pretty,
seats aren't worn in an effort to be
that's
an
the
Uber.
giveaway if it was an Uber car.
Yeah.
If like the back
doesn't
seats are all
smell.
scraped up.
Yeah, and the door handles would be all worn. Like
Yeah.
even the door handles in this car aren't too bad. Like you could tell someone had a ring, but
Okay.
that's typical of. I wouldn't expect this car to be perfect.
So you're obviously not paying retail value for this car.
No, absolutely not. This is what a wholesale value would be, a car
Auction.
that you would expect it to do at an auction for the price that we paid, basically.
What's it worth if you were to throw it up on Cars and Bids or Bring a Trailer or eBay or something?
15?
I was looking at Cars and Bids before we ended up buying it, just in general auctions. And there's really nothing out there on like Mannheim, which is a huge wholesale auto auction with these kind of miles. Cars and Bids, the last one was a much older car. I think it was a 1590 that was only bid to $14,000 with 230,000 miles on it. And then that sale had to be ended for some reason. The seller kind of like backed out of it. Thinking the car wasn't
Maybe
gonna do
something
enough.
sketchy. Or,
Yeah, so like that was really the last one. I would assume like if just thinking about the wholesaler's perspective, someone would pay $8,000 to $9,000 for this car at an auction and probably try and sell it for 15,000, 16,000. It's still really cheap. At the end of the day, it's a really accessible Model Y or Model S.
Yeah.
Back of $20,000.
And this generation of Model S, I think like with Palladium, they almost went downhill a bit. Like I can just say from my experience, my car just never felt right.
Well, you have a relatively early one too, don't you?
No, because it's after
I guess
they
they've
did
had
the
Palladium.
taillight upgrade and everything.
Yeah.
It was the tilting screen stuff. Mine's 22. They did Palladium.
Oh,
in
okay,
21.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep thinking yours is earlier for
I
some
think
reason.
this car is from maybe the golden age of
Yeah.
Tesla a little bit.
Well, I
know
said
it sounds silly.
2017 was, or that.
100D, yeah.
Yeah, so Alyssa's uncle got a 100D
Yeah.
2017, but it was MCU1, and it's not Palladium.
Yeah.
And there was a huge price difference at the time when he got them, because this was like 21 maybe. I did a road trip in that car from Minneapolis to Boston, basically. And he paid a lot of money for it, but he's also driven it like 100,000 miles since then.
Yeah, I mean, there was that period of time during the COVID bubble where every car, every car was worth a ton more than it should have been, like market value. But EVs, especially Teslas, were super appreciated at that point.
Yeah.
Because it was hard to get a new one. from anywhere, from any manufacturer,
Yeah, the
especially
wait
Tesla.
times were crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, I remember seeing used Model Y performances for almost $80,000.
Yeah,
and
Jesus.
people buying them. Like that is yeah.
Such a waste of money.
It is.
Looking
Yes.
back on
Looking back, it's like, did you have to have it? Probably not.
Right.
If you just waited 12 months.
That's how I feel about the Model S that I paid for.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, yeah, actually, you are in a similar situation with
Time to
when you
film
bought
some
your
more
car,
videos to
but
offset it.
Yeah, I don't know.
at this point,
Yeah, that one's probably been offset with videos.
Yeah, I was
but
gonna
it
say.
probably took quite a bit.
Yeah.
So what's the condition of your car? Because the reason I brought up Alyssa's uncle's car was I felt like the condition was good, but not great. His car probably had 60 or 70,000 miles on it, nowhere near the mileage of yours. But I think Tesla got significantly better with quality with this Raven upgrade. And a lot of it's just mechanical components, interior materials, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's got the adaptive suspension, so it's, you can go between kind of a sport, firm, soft, whatever you want to do.
Right. It wasn't just suspension height.
Height. Yeah, you had firmness adjustment there, and
it was the
compression
DT
rebound.
Sky damper, if I remember correctly.
I would not know
DT
that.
Sky. I remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we're going back to our Jira days there,
Yeah.
our Jira ticket reading. Yeah, that one. So it actually is pretty quiet. There's not many rattles on the car. I mean, like I hear a little buzz in a door panel on certain really bad roads, but it goes away pretty quick.
Yeah, I thought
Seats
for
are holding up
sure.
really well. There's a little tear on the driver's seat bolster, but that's it.
Yeah, just going over big things that we noticed. There's really is not much. Like one of the parking sensors in the rear bumper is a little not straight, and like it probably got hit or gently or just fell out. I mean, not falling out, but it's not lined up.
Because it's not an accident history car, right?
No, yeah, on AutoCheck and Carfax, there's no accident history, and there's no paint work on the car. So the car's all factory paintwork, as far as I can tell. I mean, maybe the rear bumper. You never know.
Yeah, I mean,
It's hard
I
to
thought
tell.
the rear trunk didn't line up perfectly.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
noticed something down there.
It could be,
that was
but-
Could have
factory.
also just been Tesla
Yeah.
back at the time.
I like, to me, when I see Teslas, like I don't expect them to be perfect,
Yeah.
perfect panel alignment and all that. But Ben mentioned like the driver's seat is the only one that really shows any sort of real wear to it. And I know when you were first sitting in it, it was a little like rocky, but it's fine when you're driving. You don't notice it unless you're trying to rock it. So like that might be a little loose.
Might need a bolt tightened under the seat.
But is
or
it the
something.
seats? So remember how they did the Recaro next gen seats, and those are the best
with
Model
the
S
power
seats?
headrest? Or the ones before
The ones that
that
are in your dad's car,
Oh no, this is the seat that came after that. So this
Right.
is when
Yes.
Tesla switched to their own seat design,
which is not as good.
So when they first switched and they were leather, I don't think they were as good. But this has the non-leather of that seat, so it's got the new bolstering. the
That's
new
why it looks so
foams.
nice in
Yes,
there.
it's
So
not
it's got more
Napa
side
leather.
bolstering than any other Tesla seat up until that time had. So
Okay.
I think I missed, because I remember driving P100Ds with the tan leather perforated seats back in
Right.
the day and hating that.
They were
seat design.
destroyed
These have
before they were
ACC.
delivered.
Oh, they look bad in the showroom. Yeah, like just from like
They were
5
destroyed
days of
before they were
usage.
delivered.
yeah, it was so bad.
Yeah, I mean, the seats, I think the seats, I mean, I'm used to my model. I've not really driven many Model S's for long term, apart from one that I owned, and those seats sucked.
Yeah,
in
you had the
2014.
early
They were horrible.
Flat bottoms.
And at least this car, like these
The
seats, I thought were a
stool.
huge upgrade. Like the bolsters, like they actually hold you in the corners. It's not
Okay.
just like sitting.
I always
flat.
just felt like I sat too high in those seats.
It's that the headrest is in the back of your head a little bit, or in the back of your neck, because it
Oh,
doesn't raise
maybe.
up high enough, I think.
Maybe.
Well, no,
That's my
ours.
problem.
This one has the adjustable headrest.
No, I have the problem he's talking about. I know. I remember because I remember
I guess I
complaining
don't
about this.
suffer.
In
I had them in my
2016.
Model S P100D,
Yeah,
and I
it's
never
just that
liked them.
seat,
Yeah,
but with the new.
I like the new
foaming.
seat better than those.
Yes, I like the new seats
seat's good.
in the newer Model S's
Yeah.
for sure.
Think we can get the plaid track seats put on it?
Probably. I think I'm going to
I
upgrade.
know we looked into upgrading
mine.
the taillights.
So if I end up keeping my Model S, I have like these Tesla credits that I got to burn money on, or they just expire, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
So-
Ben's expired. He had some, I think, because we
Yeah,
thought
they
we'd get some
expired.
free supercharging.
Yeah. Well, so I have some points left, and like they give you dollars now for every referral, and so I've got like a lot of money that I can do something with.
Yeah.
And I might use it for repairs on my Model 3, or I might use it to upgrade the seats and put track pack on my Model S.
Oh yeah, I saw that on the accessory. You can just from the app,
actually drove
you can
that.
just add it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I drove a
The
track
brakes
pack
are
Model
good.
S. The brakes are good. The tires,
Yeah.
they last for like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
but they're
They're
good when they
Supercar
last.
3Rs.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's an OE Supercar 3R tire.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that. You can choose. It's 20 grand for the full track pack, or for 15, you can just do the brakes.
And you don't get the wheels either.
You don't
right?
get the
You've
wheels, but I've got Martians. Yeah.
Yeah. The brakes, though, definitely needed.
Yeah,
From what I
I put my car back to stock brakes. I used to have the Mountain Pass
Yeah.
Performance upgraded brakes, but the aero wheels didn't fit over it. And so for the I-90 Surge, we needed to put the standard brakes on because I needed the car on arrows.
Makes
I
sense.
forgot how much prep was done for that.
Yeah,
That's a big
Jordan's
endeavor,
like,
huh?
oh my God.
there was a lot of prep for the Surge.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's a great video, though. Great
So it
video.
all
It's like-
started from Seattle. So here you guys are leaving from Seattle.
Yep.
And so you got to the car. What was the first thing you did with it? You checked it out, obviously, I'm sure. And
We had
How
to charge
quickly?
it too because they didn't have it charged.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we
apparently
picked it
they
up
get it
in
charged.
28-degree weather with
So
a cold battery.
stone cold
and
battery.
30%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the car was originally bought in, like the customer sold it to us at the very end of December. December 27th is when the car was bought in. And then it basically didn't move until we bought it 2 days ago.
Yeah. So that's what, a month and a half or so? No, a month and
It's just over a
week.
month. Yeah, like five weeks
Yeah.
of sitting in Seattle cold, and it was snowing, which apparently they don't get a lot of snow where they were, but it was snowing pretty good.
Oh,
when we
really? Yeah.
picked it
Well,
up.
I saw the photos. I can actually, let's pull up this screen here of some of the photos you guys sent. There we go.
Yep.
Wow. Snowy Model S.
So that's the car.
Yep.
It almost looks like the front door and the rear door are two different colors.
I noticed that in this photo. Actually.
I think some of that just depends on lighting. And
Lighting, yeah.
The
Yeah, I didn't
angle.
see it in person.
What'd they call this color back in the day?
Midnight silver.
Oh.
instead of
Does it have a
gray.
new name now? Have they renamed?
It's the
is it
same
Stealth
color
Gray?
as my Model 3.
Yeah. Is it stealth gray a different paint color or not? I thought it
Yes.
was the same thing.
No,
Oh, it is
Stealth
different.
Gray's darker.
Oh, okay.
Jordan's car is Stealth Gray.
Yep.
Well, it
Not
was.
more.
You can look at the door.
Now it's
door jam.
pistachio
Before I
blast
ruined it.
or
According to Kyle.
Baja pistachio. What is it?
Baja Blast.
Before I ruined it.
Yeah.
Satin Jade, yeah.
Satin Jade. Okay, you know what? That's a good name.
That
I'll
is a
give it
great
that.
name.
So that's a lot of snow.
This thing looks
But this
good.
must
Oh,
be
yeah,
up
up
in
here.
the mountains.
Yeah, this was
This
outside of
was-
Renton.
Yeah, this is like an hour or two into the drive
Gorgeous.
from Seattle.
Yeah, the first
They also got
couple
dumped
hours of
on
the drive are
most of the
amazing.
time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. See,
Yeah.
I get why people live there for
Yeah,
sure.
totally.
If you don't mind the snow, obviously.
I had a little fun with Slip Start too. Been a while since I hit
You
that
need to
button
get
in a
sexy
car.
buttons in here.
What can that do? Oh, is that you do it all the way off?
It lets you do everything.
I think I've seen like off-road mode for Model 3 with that and some other little things.
So
I now have drift mode in my rear-wheel drive Model 3.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Does it let you do like the regen and stability adjust? Or
you
not quite?
can adjust regen.
I have a button to turn off regen completely.
Wow. Oh, okay. We're
They
getting
let you.
buttons.
They give you full control over the car. Not sponsored. They have sponsored us in the past. They're good friends of ours. They actually let me film their Model 3 Highland in Europe. They're one of the first deliveries.
Oh, right.
So that was their car, and we did Nürburgring laps with Misha in there
Yeah.
with their stuff. And that's how we were able to drift on the Nürburgring because we turned off ESP and
That's cool.
and regen, and the pads were metal at the end of one lap.
Yeah, that not surprising coming from you or Ben to say that. Like, oh, the pads were gone after the first lap of
Melted.
Nürburgring.
It was Misha who was driving.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dang.
Brake pads are the bane of my existence. I'm on my fourth set now, and I have 5,000 miles on my sports car. So, yeah,
Wow.
Dang.
ruining them.
Tesla doesn't
Okay,
do
so
that.
you got the car. Where'd you charge it? How'd that first charge go? Because that must have sucked.
It was super cold, and I don't remember which one we did. I think we picked one really close by just to make sure it worked.
No, we
Or did we go farther?
no, we drove. Yeah, I mean, it had like
Oh, yeah, 'cause we got it in
38%.
the app quick. So, yeah.
So it got
Yeah.
yeah. we were able to get it into our app within
How
like
did
a
that
couple
go?
minutes.
Because that used to be a
Minutes.
day. Remember, like
days.
that was a real problem.
Yeah.
You'd buy a used Tesla and you were stranded.
You scan the documents, and then it tells you to go name the car and the touchscreen to like a 3-digit code, and then says okay, and then maybe 3 minutes later, it's in the app.
So same thing we did with
Yeah,
Tiger's
it
car.
was
Very fast.
extremely easy.
I was worried that we weren't going to be able to supercharge the thing, and we were going to be stuck on the wrong side of the country. But
Yeah.
for those who are
the
listening,
wrong
it's
side
not
of
too
the
bad.
country.
yeah, way away from where home is.
Yeah, East Coast is Beast Coast.
But I think we
obviously.
drove like 35 minutes to a supercharger heading east. So I forgot
I
exactly
think
where
it
it was
warmed
though.
up pretty good. I had like Scan My Tesla OBD dongle in there.
The battery
like,
was
from day
still
one.
a little
So I
cold.
think I think we got like 87 kilowatts or whatever.
Yeah, it
which
was
is
not
fine.
a crazy charge.
But it'll do 130 when she's toasty.
Yeah, so I've
for
noticed
like
with
0.2 seconds.
most Teslas will always charge faster the hotter the battery is.
Yeah. they need a lot of heat.
Up until the point where they thermal throttle.
Yeah. This one, good news, can't thermal throttle, doesn't require enough amps to do that.
Yeah, it doesn't even hit 400 amps.
No, it's like 360 amps is maximum
And voltage
input.
is low because you're removed. The 75s were just 100s with modules removed.
Yeah, so I think it sits in the 350 on a full, like nominal is 350 instead of 400, basically.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably been better on the last leg of the trip charging than the first leg once we cleared the weather. I'd say yesterday was its best charging day that we've had.
Oh, yeah,
with it,
yesterday was great.
for sure, because it was warm.
No more range
ambient
mode
temperature was a
as
lot
well.
warmer too.
So let's talk about the trip, and then we can talk about the data that we saw from Scan My Tesla here. So you picked it up, you did your first supercharging session. You guys are you've road tripped EVs for years. This isn't anything new or scary or EV veterans. Ben and I once drove across North Carolina in an i3. I think it was one of the first times people drove long distance in North Carolina in a non-Tesla.
Yes.
I remember when you guys did that.
We drove it to Tail the Dragon
Yes.
from Raleigh.
Yeah,
Raleigh,
and
Durham.
we only wanted to use DC. It was a Rex, but we didn't want
the engine.
Right. Yeah.
didn't want the engine to kick on, and it took
10 hours?
more.
No, it had to have been more.
Normally,
yeah.
I think it's a 5-hour drive, and I know we got there at 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. It was
Right.
brutal.
I think it was 12,
12 hours. I think that's probably about right.
maybe more.
Because DC orders weren't along the highway then.
We
so
had
we
to
had to go.
zigzag. We went almost to Charlotte.
Yes. And we had to go, I think, 30 miles north of the highway on point to charge, which was half the range. So
Yeah.
you do a 40-mile round trip detour, and then you net at the end along your route of travel
10
only
miles.
another 10 miles extra, but you needed it, so that's what you had to do.
And that was before we were filming. That would have been a great YouTube
That
video.
would have been great.
Oh man, that would have been a good YouTube video back
We had a
in the
good
day.
time.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
And there were, 50 kilowatt chargers were the most powerful. That was
Yeah.
before EA existed.
Oh,
or
absolutely.
anything
Yeah,
like
there's
that.
no EA. There's nothing.
Yeah.
Even
hardly
now,
anything. It
you
was
pull
Tesla.
up and you see a ChargePoint CPE 250, 62 kilowatt or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, one of these.
Yeah.
That was gold back then
Oh
because
my
the
God.
alternative was one of those green lots 50
The
kilowatt
boxes.
units, the little boxes that are all now defunct. But I think those really only because the voltages they only really ever put out
Yeah, there were
150
100
amps or 100 amps. Maybe?
100 amps.
Yeah, so you get 36 kilowatts out
Yes.
of one. God help you on that.
Right, and we couldn't go below 6%, which also hurt us because the range extender would kick on at 6%. So we had a limited range, essentially.
Yeah.
And then the way back, I think we just drove Rex the whole
We
way.
did, and we filled up with gas every.
And we got
30
some
feet.
great pics, though, of that thing on the Dragon leaned over.
Yeah, that was good. Solar
i3s are
orange
awesome.
i3.
Oh yeah,
Good car.
they're still really cool cars to this day.
They're holding their
so-
values slightly better than certain Teslas, in fact.
Yeah, I know. They're not that cheap.
Which
they're
is upsetting.
cheap, but they're not that.
The
Like an
early,
i3S.
the early ones are cheap, but the
i3s
S's are
cheap
not.
enough for
S's
me.
are still 18 to 20 for a nice
Yes.
one.
And I
Or
want
more
one.
for a low mileage nice one. You
It's-
just saw one today.
It's so hard to find an S with adaptive cruise with the big screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's like you would imagine that BMW would be like, oh, this is the S, like the top of the line.
Yeah,
let's
let's
give
put
it
everything
everything.
in
No, you still get the little tiny business navigation.
I don't want that.
No, I want the full blown big boy nav and Harman Kardon sound system.
So I want a yellow i3S.
Oh my gosh.
The gold yellow?
The gold yellow.
The gold
Yeah,
yellow.
that's my favorite.
With tech pack. And I think that's really it. I just want adaptive cruise and the big screen.
They could get a sunroof too.
No Rex.
Yeah,
right?
and sunroof, no Rex.
Yes.
But I want 120 amp hour. I want the big battery.
I think aren't all i3S's big battery?
No, you could get 96 or 120
Oh, big
amp
battery.
hour. So I don't know what that is in kilowatt hours. That's like 33 or 40.
Also, I'm so glad that the amp hour battery size thing has died. Because
Yeah.
that was annoying because
Makes
they
no
didn't
sense.
advertise the voltage, so it was useless information.
Yeah, that was dumb.
I think they did that so they could have a larger
learning curve.
number to display. Because if they said kilowatt hours, they'd be like, oh, it's like 44, and that sounds lame.
Yeah, and the early ones
But
were like
120 sounds good.
24. And then
Yeah,
like
the super
Tesla
early
had an
ones, yeah.
85.
So yeah, when Tesla came out, it's like, dang, 85. That's a lot.
Yeah, but
It's to
I
this
never thought
day.
about why they did that, but it may have been
think
because
that's
Tesla
100% why
was
they did it.
doing kilowatt hours, so they did amp hours.
Yeah, to be
They
like
wanted
it's
their
bigger.
number to look bigger in comparison.
I bet
Yeah.
you that's why.
You mean the 85 that was actually really only 77 kilowatt hours usable? Not even usable gross, I think.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, the 85s were nowhere near 85. And the 90s were nowhere near 85 even still.
Huh.
Yeah.
I really wish they
There
would
was a
go.
lawsuit in Norway about this.
Okay.
They got paid out on it, too.
I'm sure I heard about it, but I don't remember.
Yeah,
that.
it
That's
had
what
to be
I
I mean, this
old
was in
news by now,
2014, so it was a long time ago.
Okay, so back to your trip. So you're not EV you're EV veterans is what I'm trying to say. So this
We're
is not
familiar,
a
yeah.
scary task to road trip a Tesla from 2019 across the country.
No, it's
so
easy.
yeah, so how'd it go? What'd you do? Did you do any planning? Did you just get in the car and go?
Just
Or
got in the car and went.
yeah,
I looked at a better route planner to just verify that is it possible with with the range degradation. I didn't doubt that it would be possible. I just wanted to see what it looked like, because if it was going to be like miserable charging the whole way, like okay, maybe we'll just ship it or whatever and play with it.
But it's more fun to road trip,
it is. Honestly, this car is one of those cars you buy for the story more than anything else.
right? Because this is essentially replacing your $200,000 Maserati.
Yeah, eventually the $200,000 2024 Maserati GranTurismo lease that we've had for the last year, just about now.
Yeah, I just drove it the other day.
Yeah,
It's
you did.
nice.
Yep, when you were in North Carolina. Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes some good noises.
It sounds great, but it's
And
also like, but you got a
fine.
great deal.
What's funny is right after you drove it, it broke and was gone for 3 weeks again. Yeah, it was not even mechanical though. It was just the radio like
touchscreen
stopped working. So
How much of the time has your very expensive Maserati spent away from you versus with you?
I would say it's probably been a solid 7 weeks total.
Away.
I
Yeah.
have a spreadsheet. We are up to
I don't
10
know if-
weeks.
Is it? I don't.
weeks.
Is it really? I
If you
don't think
count
so.
downtime where it was broken and we weren't using it because of it, yes.
Oh well, I was only
parts
counting when it was
delays.
at the dealer because it never stranded us. We never were able to not drive it.
I counted the days from when the suspension stopped working.
That's what I was
and
going to say. Didn't
yeah.
it deflate or something?
Twice.
Day one.
Oh yeah, within the
Pulling
hour
into
that
the
we brought it
garage,
home.
It failed air suspension failure and it like aired out.
Yep,
and
backing
framed
into
it
the
out
garage.
In the
How
driveway.
was that thing so cheap on a lease though? What was the lease?
So it was $2,500 down and $340 something a month.
Yeah, it's $340 a month.
$346 I think or something a month.
That's
Because
so cheap.
It was just. I mean, the car was probably a year old or more at the
Was
time.
a year old.
Just aged on the line.
Here's
Yep.
the impressive part of this lease: the dealer did not provide discount. The dealer made money on this deal, which is even wilder. So they had a bunch of promotions on the Gran Turismos going to try and get them moving, and they came up with a new bunch of promotions, and they overlapped them without thinking. And they weren't exclusive where you couldn't combine
Right,
them.
you could stack
combine them. And if you own a current Gen 911, they had a Conquest owners thing, which is 15 grand off of whatever Maserati you're buying.
So you had that.
It's stacked with
Yeah,
like
because Ben's 911.
$65,000 off MSRP. And then we did a 12-month lease with 10,000 miles, and it ended up being like basically a free car.
How many
And-
miles you put on it?
Well, because it's been in service the whole time,
That's the catch.
we're not even at 8 yet. We're
You
back
got to
with
go
8.
on a road trip.
7,500
Oh, I
miles,
know.
think.
It's just we're just running into time at this point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna when we get back, like we're not the Tesla won't be driven daily until that car's gone.
Yeah.
So the Tesla will just be the third car.
But what a change to go from something that's over 200 grand or roughly to a $9,000 car.
I mean, honestly, just from riding in it, it's pretty close. Like ride quality. Like so, they both have air suspension, right? The Tesla honestly rides amazing. I keep comparing it to my own early 2014 Tesla, which was horrible
Yeah,
to
of
ride.
course, yeah.
Horrible. This is so much better. And it's so much better than that car in many ways, but compared to the Maserati, it's still, I think the ride is better. It's obviously not a sports car, and the Maserati is big at 21-inch wheels and no
Let's
tires.
not go
super-
too far here.
I'm just saying.
That's not a sports car either. It's a GT.
It's a Grand Tour.
Yeah.
It's in the name.
And the Maserati is a great sound system, but I think the Tesla sound system is probably just as good to my ears.
Tesla
in
sound
reality.
systems are amazing.
Tesla's always done
do a
really
good
well with
job.
audio.
I'll give them a lot of credit for that.
But
Bang & Olufsen.
it is.
What?
Also excellent.
Bang & Olufsen is Tesla components, from what I've
I
heard.
thought Tesla was all in
Harman,
house.
aren't they part of like what is it? Harman,
it's Harman.
Automotive,
Yeah, it's all
which is
Harman.
all everyone's
it's all
buying from
Harman.
them.
It's always has been.
Always has been.
But yeah, I mean the Maserati,
You have the what systems in there? I did a whole
the
video.
Sonus
Yeah, the
Faber,
Sonus Faber. Yeah.
and this is the high
Which
audio
kicks
system.
pretty good.
Oh,
Actually,
yeah.
it's a good
It
system.
is a pretty amazing system.
It's a $4,000 option
Yeah.
on top
On a
of all the other
$200,000
options.
$1,000 car.
Jordan, you and I met the engineering team.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I mean they're
the audio ones or the
yeah,
whole team.
The audio ones.
Those
Yeah, I
are
mean-
the only good parts of the engineering team on that
Yes,
car.
everyone
unfortunately.
else
Yeah, it
was
was
not
not good.
interested.
Oh, the audio is incredible. I mean, I think they have like 19 speakers in that thing and like almost 1,800 watts. Like,
I just
it's
drove
crazy.
something that had
Neo ET9 has almost 3,000 watts.
Oh
yeah
my
3,000 watts in Neo
3 kilowatts
ET9.
of sound.
Did they buy it
system.
from Best Buy and have them install it?
If you're listening to your sound
I want
system
the biggest
on a level
sub.
1 charger, you might lose charge.
You would.
Yeah, you would. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's crazy.
That's a lot.
Or if
That's
you're trying
almost
to
too
top,
much for a
or if
car.
you're trying to top charge your Model S.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
that's the thing.
we'll-
Do we want to talk about the
we'll
charging?
get
Yeah,
into
yeah,
that.
yeah. But, yeah. So, okay, tell me
But-
about your first charging stop.
So the first charging stop, I think we saw 87.
I think we got like
kilowatts.
7. Oh no, it was like 76 kilowatts. Yeah.
And you have to pay per kilowatt hour for this
Correct.
trip.
Thank God by kilowatt hour, not by minute, because this car would be rough on that one.
Oh,
Yeah, thank God it's not by a minute.
Because it peaks at like when it's warm, it'll peak at like upper 120s, and then it drops pretty quickly.
Kansas, you have to pay by minute.
Oh boy, we're gonna have to go around Kansas.
Isn't
then.
that true, Jordan?
no, I don't. No.
I think most places they've switched it finally.
Yeah,
I've
no.
heard.
Kansas was always kilowatt by
That's
kilowatt
good.
hour.
EA in Kansas was always by minute.
Maybe EA is, but Tesla was the same.
They were good.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did stop. Actually, that first charging stop was at my most favorite supercharger I've been to, because it was a combination Starbucks Popeyes chicken.
Yes, in the same they were
building.
combination.
Those are cool.
Wild choice.
I was wondering if you'd ever been there. I meant to ask you before we even started.
I haven't done
podcasting, but
much in the Pacific Northwest.
It's
makes
a
sense.
nice charger. It's plenty. I mean, it's like 6 stalls or something, but there's a Starbucks right there. So
Yeah. I always like the Starbucks and Panda Express. That's the real.
That's the real.
That's the winner.
devils.
Yeah.
That's
That's
it.
the out of spec 10 out of 10 rate your charge score.
so we didn't. I,
Amenities, all of them. That one.
Everything needed.
I would say
There's only
we
2
stayed there.
categories.
We stayed at that charger only as long as we had to,
Yeah, like
and then we
20 minutes.
left.
So you guys,
Yeah, not
you
even.
didn't charge very deep in any of these chargers.
No, well, we did have to do probably two deep charges this trip, where we had a leg of, this is going to sound small, 120 miles between chargers, which was a
Yeah.
lot in the
I mean,
30-degree winds going up the mountains,
Right.
gaining elevation with the snow.
Yeah.
So
Those were like a 50-minute charge. That one. It
I
was
don't
a
think we
long.
had. I'll look at test flight data.
I know. Last night
we had one
going
that was
into
50
Rollins,
minutes.
that was a long one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to Rollins from the
Wyoming's
last
pretty open.
time. Yeah,
Yeah, and it was.
I took a nap in the car.
There was a decent headwind. Yeah, this was late. We were the only people at the supercharger.
Did you try using FSD in the snow at all?
Very briefly.
How'd it go?
As I was leaving the snowy roads, I'm like, oh, let me see if it works. And it just worked.
Yeah.
Well,
And then it turned
It
on to the
seems
main
fine.
roads.
It
was
did
fine.
work, yeah. And we didn't try. The highways were clear, so I mean that was easy. But on the back roads, yeah, it did work. It took us. That was just after our first charge stop
Yeah, it was
because
just
FSD was still calibrating like the cameras and all that, so we didn't have it.
Why was it calibrating the cameras when it's got 250,000
When you do a
miles?
factory reset,
It was all
has to
reset.
do the AP camera calibration
Really?
every time.
Yep.
No way.
Yeah, I was
So
surprised. I was
like
pretty
95% calibrated.
Yeah.
is what we
You
kept
get
saying.
autopilot before you get FSD too. It keeps calibrating.
Oh,
after that.
really?
Yeah.
And then like it adds, like then you get autopilot, then you get navigate on autopilot, and then you'll get
Oh,
full
wow.
FSD.
yeah, it's like a gradient.
That's
It's kinda
cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So next time you buy a used car with FSD, when they do a factory reset,
make your ADAS cameras self-calibrate like that, so you don't have to have your customers pay, I don't know, $500 to some random shop for a camera alignment after they replace their windshield every time, because that stuff's stupid.
Yeah, it's so that's the thing Tesla gets right. Is that
It's
Because they don't want to
integration.
do the work.
Right, yeah, that customers don't want to have to come in either.
Yeah.
And now they calibrate in the factory.
Huh.
Because they self-drive out of the
oh, that's
factory.
right.
saw
Yeah, I
that,
saw
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool, actually.
Yes. That is really cool.
That's like
So BMW does that,
they self-drive
and
out of their
Mercedes
factory,
they
or
self-drive
they
in the
calibrate.
factory. But someone said that they follow a set of predetermined points that the cars
Oh,
drive
like those
through.
automated parking garage technologies.
Yes,
from
and they
Magna
use that
whatever.
in the factory. But this is like just using FSD, and then it goes finds a parking space.
Yeah, they're just like, all right, you're on your own.
Yep. That's so
Bye.
cool.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
It
love
is
that.
really cool.
A lot
yeah.
of manpower
I mean,
free up with that. It's actually very clever.
Yeah.
allows you
Tesla
to
can be good at
allocate
innovating
resources.
in those like kind of areas that you don't really think about, but are actually relatively important in the grand scheme of things.
So what's missing in your car that's in a new Tesla? You have MCU2, which means you have Spotify and YouTube and
Yeah, so we've got
Like
all
Apple
the
Music.
games and everything that you'd get on like
but your
newer-
driver's display is more
It has more information on
than
it
the new ones.
than yours
Yeah.
does. Yeah,
Mine does nothing.
I can have
yeah. It's
map,
just yours is just a screen that you
trip
can't really edit
computer.
anymore.
What else can we have up
Right,
there?
you get the two
Power
rows on
meter.
either
Yeah,
side.
Yeah, you get the
you
two
can do the
rotaries, and then you get
temperature.
FSD visualization in the middle. It's great.
Why can't they just do that on
I
mine?
don't know. When Ben told me that they got rid of that, I was like, "That's
you
weird."
also don't have an interior camera, do you?
No,
do not.
we do not.
Which means you can text
Yes.
and use FSD.
It's the best
No,
FSD
listen.
experience. Not that I would ever.
Not that
text.
we recommend this.
But if you were to do a really long bit of texting, it's very convenient.
You just put
Allegedly.
weight on the steering wheel.
Yeah, you just
Yes,
put your hand on
allegedly, if you had to respond to a message, you could do it without the car yelling at you.
it. You
for
probably
not
get pretty
looking down
deep
the
into
road.
TikTok too.
Allegedly.
I had a loaner with FSD and no interior camera.
Oh, did you?
And it was the best. I was like, I want to keep you
You're
keep
like,
my Model S
yeah.
as long as you want.
We just swap.
Yeah.
I remember like some of the last Tesla I had was a 2024 or 3 No, so it wasn't a Highland model. It was just for Highland. It was the standard range, and that had autopilot, but it had the interior camera. And that was the first Tesla I owned with an interior camera, and I sold it as soon as they did that. Because you would activate autopilot, look at the screen, and it'd beep at you immediately.
Yeah, just to look down the
And it's so
infotainment
annoying.
screen.
So I sold that car very quickly, and then we had the Taycan and some other fun stuff in between. So I'm really happy not having that, because sometimes I might want to look at the map. That's why I put autopilot on, is to see that turn, to make sure I'm not going to miss that turn.
Or to see, if you want to reroute your route planning, add a trip, you can do that.
I'm going to do it anyways.
Feel relatively safe. The car is going to handle it.
Or respond to a text message.
Yeah, exactly. You see it come up on the phone.
That's all you need.
It's wild. I've been messing with charging stops on my screen, and my car is hardware for FSD totally doesn't need me, and I can't look at the screen for more than 3 seconds. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's officially annoying.
To a 6-year-old
That is
Model
definitely
S.
annoying.
Well, I mean, on the earnings call last week, Elon was like, "Yeah, it is ironic how you have to go from take it out of the safe driving to then look at your phone."
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand how that would definitely be annoying to long-time owners who've had multiple Teslas, and you get used to your mannerisms.
In AP1, you used to have to do nothing.
AP1 wouldn't ask you to touch the steering wheel unless it was concerned about what was happening.
Yes.
And it was concerned way too late, always.
Yeah, no, you would be dead before it asked you to touch the steering wheel.
AP1 was the jam.
It was so good. My Model X was AP1, and you could go down the highway, and you could go from one charger to another, so off, or on ramp to off ramp, not a single touch.
It's amazing. Yeah.
The good times. But the car has performed really well on the trip for the most part. I mean, we didn't expect it to charge great, and it charges fine for what it is.
It
it's not
charges
going to
down
be
low pretty well, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
10 to
once you hit
50 is good.
50%, you really notice it getting slower.
What's it do at 50%?
That's when you're at 50, or probably 60 kilowatts.
That bad?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then it just slowly. It's
40%,
every
you
10
might be
kilowatts,
70 or
every
80.
10%.
Okay, so do you want to run it to 0 though? What does it do below 10?
Below 10, you get a consistent 55 or 49 kilowatts, something like that. And then you hit 10 or 11, and then it just shoots up to 130, and then it starts coming back down.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
I wonder why they.
Maybe it's been an updated charging curve they released for the
I don't
battery.
remember them
I don't
ever
remember.
doing that previous. Does your dad's car do that? Because it should be the same battery, right?
You haven't supercharged that car. in a long
I did a
time.
road trip in that car 3 or 4 years ago. So it's been a while. I feel like I remember it not being a super good bottom charger, but maybe not as bad as this. It's probably charges the same as this car now, though. I bet it's been updated.
When
in
you
some
get
way.
back, charge that. Do a little test.
Yeah, we should.
And let's do a video on it for the testing
Here's
channel.
a 50,000 mile battery. Here's a 250,000 mile battery.
Same battery.
Same
It should
battery
be the same
It
technically.
battery.
should be, yeah.
Yeah.
Age is different. His car's a 16. This one's a 19. But
Yeah, but then the mileage may offset some degradation. Would be interesting to do. Can you do a battery health test internally on this generation Model S?
I think you can do it in the settings. Yes,
Yeah, it should be in service
mode. I think I looked at that earlier.
Okay, that would be
We can do
cool.
that. I think
do
it has to
your
be parked
dad's
for a
car
long
and
time.
this.
So
I was
it
gonna say,
makes
yeah,
sense to
because
test it.
your dad's car's mainly been charged off his
AC.
home charger.
AC.
He's never,
got full
he's rarely
not full
DC
self,
charged it.
free unlimited lifetime supercharging on that
Yeah.
car, and I can't think of anyone who's benefited less from that upgrade. Unfortunately,
because he charged
does
at
his,
the
like,
office.
once a year Asheville trip.
yeah.
Yeah, or occasionally to
sometimes he'll go
Virginia.
to a supercharger just to be like, "Yep, I can do
just to
that
make
for
sure it
free."
still works. Yeah, I think that's
Oh,
what he
are
said
you
to us
paying over
last
there? Not
time.
me, mine's free.
Yeah, he went there just to make sure it was still free.
It is amazing how long your parents keep cars.
Oh yeah,
Your mom still has the XC60?
XC60
Yes.
going strong.
That has more miles than the Tesla now.
It does actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's up to 70,000 miles.
Wow. But they don't really drive
She
that
doesn't.
much.
Yeah, they don't, and she doesn't care
Nowhere
about cars
far
enough
from.
to deal
Whatever
with it.
happened to the X5 diesel, but Sam crashed it, right?
He got rear-ended in it.
Yeah. Okay. That's
The
why.
gold one, yep.
Yeah. That's why she had to get the Volvo. Or did she have
I
the
think
Volvo
she already
already?
had the Volvo. She
Yeah.
already had the Volvo.
That
replaced
was
the Acura
exciting.
TL,
Do you remember when your
this.
mom got the XC60? We were there for all of this.
Oh, we loved that.
And it was so exciting because it was our first kind of experience with ADAS that was responsive.
Yes. Yeah, especially outside
pilot
of Tesla
assist.
and stuff too.
Yeah. So like outside of Tesla, we didn't really have because we were EV nerds. We didn't really have other ADAS experience.
Yeah.
So pilot assist was really exciting. And remember, it kept warping rotors.
Yes, it would panic brake a lot and it would warp rotors, and Volvo will give you rotors under warranty because of how bad it was.
Yes. I'm going to try it on my Polestar 1 because it's got warped rotors now.
I hate to tell you this, but you might be outside of warranty by now.
No, my car's still in warranty.
What?
Yeah.
How?
Isn't it 4 year 50?
Oh, did they not punch the car until you got it?
Right.
What?
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing.
I'm the first owner.
I guess so. I didn't think about this.
It was
That's
a full
amazing.
star owned car.
Well,
Yeah,
sometimes they'll market it as a demo and they'll start a warranty.
I should
but they
check.
didn't
I
do that.
genuinely don't know. But even if they didn't, it's a 2021, 2, 3, 4, 5 this year. It's only February.
Okay.
It's got less than 50.
I thought
Better
that
get it there quick.
I thought that the warranty was like only because they offered free maintenance, 3-year, 36,000 mile.
I don't think Ben's mom got the maintenance.
I feel like she would have because when I bought my Volvo V90, it still had a
She's not a
remainder.
great person when it comes to maintaining cars.
That still had 2 services left on it when I bought it
They
that
asked
were
me about
complimentary.
tires recently, and I just said, just put the ones that are on there. And she's like, well, are there any that are better value? And I'm like,
Just go to
you
the dealer.
can very easily
Yeah.
afford a good set of tires. Just do what's on there. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just go to the dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go to
Just
the dealer to have their
Yeah, she asked me, where should I take it? I said, just take it to the dealer. It's
their
not worth the
dealer.
trouble.
We are way off track with Model S now, but
That's fine.
their
I know.
dealer replaces their key fob batteries for free because she's gone there so many times asking them to do it. They just do it now.
Oh, Mrs. Spreen, do you need a key battery? I've got one here for you.
And apparently they keep dying. I've never seen that issue
Yeah,
on
I've
a
never-
Volvo.
No,
but
my Polestars have been
yeah,
fine. It should be the
she's
same
had
key.
like 4 batteries put in her key fob.
Wow.
So I'm
That's
not
funny
sure.
though. Kyle
Could be a
showed me
car
where
thing.
you guys did the testing on the Volvo.
Right. You know,
roads.
by our old house, the Doverton house, where
Yeah.
we would go down that 4-lane road and we would slam on the brakes in front of the Volvo
Yes.
and see if the emergency braking would respond in
Yeah.
time. We also did like the Model X stuff where I was in the Miata, your old Miata that I
Yeah,
bought from you.
yep.
And I remember testing the side sensors
oh, yeah.
by
would it
driving
give room?
alongside and merging into the side of you to see if AP1 would move to the left.
Yeah.
And so we were doing ADAS testing with our own cars on public roads, trying to smash into each other.
We've always been interested in testing out the capabilities of the vehicle.
Yeah.
Questionably, but
Yeah.
you know,
Listen, some
it
things
works.
never have to change, right?
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on. That's
Now
fine.
we just have to do them on test tracks because we put it on YouTube.
yes.
People complain.
People complain.
But FSD has been fine for you guys. Like,
Yeah, we're on, I think, what is it, 2 versions from like the really impressive one, maybe?
12.5.
I wonder if we can get it updated today because we can hook it up to Wi-Fi at my house.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it needs a Wi-Fi update or if it's just like that hasn't rolled out to that car yet. I'm not sure.
but if
I know
it's
that it just
hardware
started
3,
rolling out.
it's the same as what's in my S, which it should be 12.6
it's
something.
12.5.4.
Right, which is old.
Yeah.
but not
It's a
that
couple.
old, but a little bit old.
It's
Yeah.
like 2 major revisions old.
And they were big revisions. The difference
Yes.
from
Yeah.
12.5.4 to what I have now is night and day.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
I
they're
can
still not up to 13 for hardware
Isn't
3
the,
yet.
the recent one, I forget the number, like 12.7?
12.6.
12.6, that's supposed to be like pulling things from 13 to
Yes.
older cars, right?
Yes.
So we
I
could
mean-
try. I mean, I'm actually impressed with that version of FSD because it's the first time I've really like extensively
Mm-hmm.
used FSD. Other than in the parking lot where it just saws the wheel left and right like a maniac for some reason,
Mm.
like just not decisive. But once you're like moving at a speed of more than 20, it's pretty competent.
Yeah, it used to do that on mine. Like when I first got my car before V13, it was doing the sawing of the wheel, and also like parking lots and also neighborhood streets. And I was like, it was embarrassing. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna turn this off.
Yeah,
It
you're
has
like,
no idea what
no.
it's doing.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
It's like the last 6 months of FSD development has been like equivalent to the last 5 years of development.
Yeah.
They are just like
It feels like it took a big leap.
A lot of this
recently.
stuff can be
Yeah.
exponential, but I think it's not as exponential as many people think. I think you have these like big moments of like, here's a big increase in rate of learning, and then you kind of have a few plateaus, and I think it's more of a stair
that's how it has been. But every update has been like whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah.
And now it's like you don't have to do anything in your car.
Yeah.
Except look so that the camera knows you're still there.
Yeah, just stare ahead.
Just put some googly eyes on.
You should get those glasses with the fake eyes and the nose and the mustache and just wear those.
Well, I'm really curious to see how Rivian's hands-free is going to be now that I've tested Tesla and GM and everything else. Like, is it going to be that annoying?
Well, they don't have eye tracking in Rivian.
And
It'll be
for
great
Gen
then.
2 they do.
No, they don't. Oh, they do. It's in the mirror.
In the
That's
mirror,
right.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
a
they
Magnum
hit it.
mirror.
It's
Yeah.
very sneaky.
A Magna mirror.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is sneaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Volkswagen does it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was in the
mirror.
mirror. That's interesting.
Yeah, you can see it if you put the light right up to the mirror. I forgot Rivian Gen 2 because they removed it from Gen 1.
Yeah.
Mine and your Rivian, we have the little camera thing in there.
Do I? I haven't even
I don't know. It
noticed
depends on when yours was built, but
It's a
I'm pretty
VIN.
sure you are early enough where you should have it. They ended up never doing anything with the interior camera, so they removed it from later builds.
I don't know if mine has it. I'll have to look.
Yeah.
I don't if I feel like I would have noticed it, but I also is a daily driver, so I don't like scrutinize it much. I just drive it and then get it dirty.
Would you only
and then
notice
park
it by holding like a light or camera up to it, or could you see
No,
it
it's like
mounted
Model 3
behind?
style, right?
It's
No.
like a wide bar.
It looks like
Oh, the little black bar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
I have
you
that.
have that, yeah.
I just thought that was like an IR thing behind it.
Yeah,
but
it's an
I didn't
IR
think they were doing
camera.
anything with it.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
So it's a light plus camera. is
Just
my
like all the
understanding.
other exterior cameras on the Gen 1 Rivians aren't hooked up to anything, because as far as I can tell with all the camera views, a lot of them don't do anything. And you can tape over some of those exterior cameras and it'll still let you do ADAS.
Well, yeah, it only
Yeah.
uses the top ones for ADAS.
Yeah. So the ones on the side, there's like 2 on the side that like the ones on the by the tires, I don't think they do anything.
By the on the fenders.
On the fenders. I think those do nothing because it's using the mirror cameras for your like 360 view and your like down the side views. So there's like 2 mirror cameras, right?
Right.
So 1 mirror camera and 1 side fender camera. I don't think they do anything. We should do.
It
a
might be
test.
part of
Put
gear
some
guard.
tape over it.
Oh, it could be part of gear guard.
They don't show up in the recordings either, though.
Wow.
That's someone
know.
who has dug into it more than
I was going to
have.
say, I didn't even know he did this.
Yeah.
So-
I drove it in the winter, and we have like freezing rain in North Carolina when we do get it. We don't really get snow, and so everything was iced up. And I'm like, I wonder if it'll let me do Driver Plus. And I'm like, wow, every camera view I have here, other than windshield, is not working.
Yeah.
So I just started putting tape over them. Slow day before I was like, let's just see, and you can tape a lot of them up before it does anything at all. So, very interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Back to your road trip.
Yes, again.
That's the
get there
best.
This is
That's
what
what makes the
happens.
best road trips, though.
yes.
Yeah.
So, how
But-
many charging stops did it take to get here?
Ben can probably tell you the exact
No, I think I
number,
only have
yeah.
data from Boise. Oh, I can. Yeah, Tesla app being a great app. Will
But
tell us.
Tesla-
So
That
you
does show
went
you that
down
number.
through Salt Lake.
Yeah, our initial first overnight stop was going to be Boise, is where we made it to.
Because you can alternatively go through Montana and then down through like Casper, Wyoming.
Yeah, you could have done like a more northern.
Yeah.
Well, we've
route,
done
which
more
we
than I
didn't do.
thought.
Yeah, no, we've stopped quite a few times.
8 times? 10 times?
I would say it's 10 or more,
Wow.
probably.
Want to pass us the timing?
I can pass this to Timon. Here you go, Timon.
So we have done 19 charging stops so far.
Whoa!
Though one
Now
of them,
there might be
Wait,
a
maybe
few
an
of these that were like
unplug-
unplug and replug because we moved a few times. So let's say 15.
What were you moving for?
I was just making sure that was actually the
yeah,
seats of the car.
we wanted to make sure there wasn't
Couldn't
just the
believe
car.
it.
Yeah,
I think we moved a few times when it was at like we were below 10%, getting that like 49 kilowatts that seemed really low on a hot battery, and I was like, why are we not sure?
Yeah,
I think
Ben
I
was
moved
not
a few
convinced.
times to confirm that.
Okay.
but yeah, it's definitely over 10 for sure. Probably around 14.
And how
actual
long
charge
are you
stops.
staying at chargers? 20 minutes?
20 minutes, I'd say.
And
That's
how
probably an
far are
average.
you going? Like 100 miles?
100, yeah.
What's
Roughly.
the efficiency?
So far for the trip, I think our trip computer is saying 360 watt
Yeah,
hours
it's
per
like
mile.
360. So
Cruising at like
just there.
85 in 40, not 40, sorry, it's been like below
Now that's
freezing
since we
a lot
bought
of
the
way.
car.
Yeah.
So what's that in
360.
miles per kilowatt hour?
That's like 2.28.
2.8?
It's almost hitting 3
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah,
We're almost at 3.333 would be 3, right?
Yeah.
So
We do think on the trip, like when we leave here and start heading out east where it starts to get real flat, we should be back 3 on some of those
And you'll
stretches.
lose elevation from here.
Yeah.
We're also much higher elevation.
we did a lot of climbing so far on this trip. That was the least efficient part.
And
of it
that
so
first day was cold and snowy.
Yeah, sure.
So yesterday when it was warm, like when the battery was warm, that was the best charging we saw
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, I looked at the car today and I just glanced at it. I didn't sit in it or anything, but it looks really nice.
I think it looks
Tell that well.
great for the mileage.
I'd have no idea. I mean, you can tell it's an older Model S, but you
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
know. Like if you told me it had 70,000 miles, I'd be like, oh yeah, that looks good for 70K.
That's exactly what I thought. It's like that doesn't look. It looks like like you said, an older Model S that has some use on it. It wasn't like a garage queen where nobody drove it, for sure. But it doesn't look like a car when you picture a car with 250,000 miles on it. No, usually they're gonna have mismatched tires, windshields cracked, maybe a different colored door on it.
So what would you typically expect a car with 250,000 miles? Like you appraise a lot of cars, you see a lot of cars at auctions and stuff. What does a typical 250,000 mile car look like to you? And what does a typical 250,000 mile electric car look like?
So usually the 250,000 mile car, usually even I would say like even the Hondas and Toyotas and Lexus of the world, if they have had neglected maintenance, they're going to show like a 250,000 mile car. And when I say maintenance, like could have multiple lights on the dashboard, bald tires. The alloy wheels have the brake dust that's been sitting on it for years.
Baked
they're all
into the
iron.
metal. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the headlights are just completely fogged out. The interior's worn, like all the touch points where our elbows will hit the steering wheel, the shifter. Usually 80% of the time, those are just black. They're just old. I mean, it's just old. They're just ripped, torn. It just shows like a worn out car, especially with the paint fading potentially on the outside. A lot of it depends on the history and the ownership of the car.
Right.
Because I've seen some higher mileage ICE cars that look great and they run great because they were maintained by one person usually, but they've probably put $10,000-$20,000 worth of maintenance in it over the years with oil changes, tires, brakes,
one owner cars
things like that.
tend to do really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, if someone's keeping a car that long, they usually means that they are keeping up on the maintenance and they care about it enough to
They also wrote
maintain
a
it.
check for the full price up front, so they know the value of that car's cost to them.
Right.
They feel it more than somebody who paid.
Yeah, they're maintaining
30%.
a $60,000 car versus maintaining a used $10,000 car that
Yes.
costs the same as that $60,000 car for maintenance.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why
Now-
Range Rovers are a problem car for a lot of buyers who buy them
But
cheap.
Range Rovers are not problems.
No,
it's just
but-
the buyers.
Yes, exactly.
Kyle will die on this hill.
I agree. We both owned old Range Rovers now as well.
I mean, I think I
Kyle's
just did a
owned a couple
video
old
like
Range Rovers.
almost 15 grand in maintenance in my L322
Yes,
though.
absolutely.
The older you go, the better they get. I don't know what to tell you.
But
That
I
one
mean,
was like 40.
now, yeah. Well, I
It
mean,
needed a full engine out, strip to chassis rebuild.
Oh, well, ours was good. You got to get the diesel.
Yeah, I know.
now I would say, like going back to my point of deferred maintenance, but it's possible being a Range Rover could have just needed that anyway,
Yeah,
and not
sure.
even necessarily
Yeah.
deferred maintenance. But like going back to the EV side, like I've seen some higher mileage EVs, very few with this kind of mileage on it. I've seen a couple older Model 3s with this kind of mileage that we've appraised. And again, is the one owner car ones, not the ones that were used for an Uber or a Lyft ride or anything like that. They all seem to hold up better. And most of the owners who ended up selling them or that I was able to talk to, if I saw that they were a higher mileage car, they said it was the best thing ever upgrading to an EV just for the cost of ownership. It was so much less, including charging. Now, I don't know anything about the battery degradation on those cars, but it was mainly just tires, windshield washer fluid, and coolant change every now and then for certain batteries, but it's mainly just tires. That's all
Yeah,
they ever
so
put into
the
car.
early
And
Model
wipers.
S's run into problems with motors.
Yes.
My
with the
early
large
one
rear
had an
drive
issue
unit.
starting with the motor.
Yeah, bearings go, and then the
Mm-hmm.
coolant starts to flow in, and then you could brick the whole thing. Jordan just went and did a video series at Conduit EV, talking about their rebuild process and coolant delete.
Yep.
And that's for every large drive unit Tesla. They will fail, including RAV4 EV and B-Class electric.
Yep. And the rear-wheel drive Model S and the performance rear motor.
Right.
So not the normal dual motor Model S.
Right. So if
No,
you get a
75D's fine,
Yep.
but a performance not. But a
But what
75
about-
no D, it will need it because it's got the large.
large
unit.
drive unit. But what about Raven cars? That was fixed by then, right? So Raven P100D,
It's still a large drive unit, so I don't know.
No, still a problem.
I think
even
so.
up
In
to there.
fact,
Even on the because Raven
I think
would
like a
be
Model
named
S performance,
Right,
Raven
Model S
is
performance.
still an
Yeah.
issue with
Yeah.
that larger unit.
because even Brent over at Conduit EV had his large drive unit replaced by Tesla a year ago, and
yeah, but his is an 85.
yeah, but yeah, we just had to do the large drive unit coolant delete on that one.
Right. A year after Tesla replaced them.
Tesla put a new one in.
Maybe you can share this. Why is there coolant in there if you can delete it?
So it doesn't delete the coolant entirely. It deletes a passageway for the coolant, right, Jordan?
Yeah, the coolant that goes in the middle, like through the stators. But it's I guess it's like over. Yeah, it's not necessary for most people, but they do have a version they're working on,
That's
which is
oil cooled.
Oil cooled. That will be fine.
There is a thermal downside to doing this.
That's what I figured. I was
you're-
like, there has to be,
If
right?
you're
Or
like
it was- why
tracking
would they
your
do it?
Model S, then this could be an issue.
right. Which they sucked anyway.
Yeah, I don't know why you would do that to
They
begin
weren't
with.
excelling in that territory, so I guess it's okay.
I'd rather track a B class.
Well, what I'm going to do is we're going to
B-class.
take the B class from the bottom to the top of Pikes Peak and
The
see
Benzla.
the Benzla, and we're going to see if my coolant delete on that is a real problem.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will it make it all the
Love
way
that
up?
drive.
I don't know if it's got enough range.
We'll find
I
it.
can't find the title for the damn thing. I want to
Oh, yeah,
register
so you
it.
can't register it.
Yeah, I don't want to do a bonded title process. That's so
Just
annoying.
become
No,
a
it is
dealership
annoying.
or something, and then get your own dealer plate.
Yeah, I would love to. Maybe Mike can help us with that.
It could be kind of expensive to register as a dealership.
But would it be more expensive? Because then we could actually like buy. We
Well,
could
it
go
would
to
allow
the
you,
auction.
if you could get a dealer's license, yes, which allow you at auctions.
Yeah.
and
I think you
buy
at an
cars.
auction would be dangerous.
But that's the thing. We could buy them. We could make some videos with them, and we could sell the cars
You can just bring it right back, yeah, technically.
and run it through
And
the
you
auction again.
don't have to register them, yeah, because you're a dealership.
It's a dealer. Yeah.
Is there a
And I'm
new
just-
out of spec as seen on TV sale page?
As seen on TV.
That's like the section to skip.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
You don't
I
want
saw
this
that
one.
one on out of spec. I'm going to go look for a different one now.
How's the battery health of that one? Oh, it's been run down to dead multiple times. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, for you, I guess
Hey,
it would
your
actually
range
not be
test.
that hard because you already have like this location, so it's
We
it would
thought
just come out
about
of zoning for some of it.
we thought about creating, quote unquote, creating our next car, being a car company, a manufacturer, and getting manufacturer plates. Because there's tons of startup companies that get manufacturer plates that aren't car manufacturers yet.
Sure.
Then I could get M plates and import Euro cars and China cars for benchmark testing,
Yeah.
Like a
and then
smart
just send them back
roadster.
after a year. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a smart roadster.
That's how my Twizy ended up here.
Hey, Stellantis,
Yeah, and then
you
they
want to
just
know how
left
to
it
make a
here.
good EV? I've got good EVs
Yeah,
here.
we just
if you
start
wanna come
sending
buy 'em.
cars to Stellantis.
Look, I'm not, they
Start 'em off gentle.
they have a JV with a Chinese company building great electric cars.
Yeah.
They should know.
Oh, the Jeep Avenger thing?
No,
That
they
European
have
one,
a
or do they
Leap
have
Motors,
Oh, okay.
and they have something called the C10
Leap.
and a few others, and they're like pretty good EV range extended EVs too.
oh,
yeah, wow.
Great software. It's like they know what to do,
And
or
then
they at least know people who know what to do.
yeah, and then over here they're like, we can't. We're not doing that.
Dodge Charger EV. That's what everyone wants.
No,
what
not
a
for $85,000.
Yeah.
Trying to explain that to someone is really hard because if they don't say the model of it or the make, it's like, yeah, I saw one of those new EV chargers or whatever. I'm like, yeah, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're like at every street corner. What do you mean? And like I was going for so long with conversation with someone, I realized they're talking about the Dodge Charger
Right.
EV. Very question. I mean,
We
good
put that
name.
joke in our Wagoneer video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did like that. It was good. That was a good callback there, actually.
Okay, well you made it here. So
Yeah.
other questions about the car. How is it holding up? Ryan right now is out doing the range test in it. He's then going to do the 10% road tripping challenge, and then we'll know how it's holding up. I guess from a capacity standpoint.
I think
Yeah,
we're
right.
estimating maybe 15 or 16% degradation over 250,000 miles.
Seems really good.
Yeah. He's currently
seems to be what it's
59% battery, so he's almost halfway into his test.
Well, it's going all the way till it stops moving. So. And it's still
I
under
mean, yeah, we're
warranty,
going to find
right?
out. Yes, that's the best thing about buying a 19 is that there were still unlimited mileage warranties.
That's
then.
the last of it.
the last year, yeah. 'Cause in
Yes.
20 they changed it to I think 150,000 miles.
For S.
I think
For
it
S's,
is
yeah.
actually, if you are a hot tip here for any people shopping for a cheap EV, look for like a 2019 Model S. You'll get the unlimited warranty on the drivetrain, so it'll still have warranty, whereas a lot of Model 3s that are in a similar price range won't have any warranty.
Still looks modern. Still looks
modern.
classy rolling up in that thing.
It's still a great looking car.
It's still
yeah.
getting good software updates as well compared to like modern Tesla. You don't feel left behind on that software platform quite yet.
You have FSD equivalent to my Plaid.
And
Yeah.
the screen, like at the bottom of the infotainment screen, is all the same. You're like same bar, same customizable icons.
2.5 years of warranty left, according to the app.
Pretty amazing.
And we're gonna keep it to see if we can get any of that warranty. We'll see. If
We'll
we
see
need
that
it, right?
if we
Maybe
kept the
what
car
I'll do-
beyond a year ever. but
Eventually-
This one we
we'll
will.
try.
I might swap you my Plaid and bring it out here
That's fair.
and do some stuff with it.
Seems like a fair
Yeah.
trade. I might be okay with that.
Good luck charging on the way back.
Yeah, I have Danny ship it.
You'll be spoiled by the
Yeah,
Plaid.
you want to take that one downhill.
The Plaid's a
if you can.
great road trip.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Really nice.
You-
But
you
it's not
should
as
just
fast
switch
as
now and
Jordan's
test
car.
that out.
Yeah.
We do know, like we were talking about it. Like if this was a long range, the charging would be way
Yeah.
different.
Because
Yeah.
I think
The
the 100
battery
packs will do nowadays. They're uncorked so they can hit like 170 peak.
Do you think that had an impact on the price? Whoever appraised it, do you think they knew the difference?
Absolutely not.
So you just got
I do not. No, they just saw Tesla with the miles
Yeah.
and just here's your offer.
They YOLO'd it. Yeah.
Assuming, because I mean, like I said, there really was nothing with this kind of miles out there, so you're kind of just
Blind.
throwing a lawn dart and seeing if that's right.
But I'm surprised they sold it to CarMax.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised
$9
too.
grand.
But
They could have
maybe,
gotten so much more.
yeah, maybe they didn't want to go through the hassle of doing it. Like,
It's never worth selling a car privately, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not into
It
that.
sucks. People are annoying.
And I'm
Well-
especially not into it because then they could be like, that YouTuber Kyle sold me
I mean,
junk
maybe,
car.
something. And
I mean, some
meanwhile,
of
it was
it-
perfect. It could have
the
been
YouTuber
perfect,
Kyle.
but yeah.
but that is something too. Like people, like you don't necessarily want to sell cars to people you know.
Yeah,
Someone
totally.
comes back with it. They're like, "Well, you sold it to me. Now you owe it to me to fix it or
On the
whatever."
contrary, I've sold the last 3 cars I know to like good people I know, and
Yeah,
that's been fine.
Well, I know we like if,
but they knew what
generally
they were
fine.
getting.
Yeah.
But that is like a rule of thumb. People say like, "Oh, you
Yeah.
don't want to sell cars to your family or friends."
Don't
Like,
sell cars
for that
to
reason.
non-car people you know. If
Right,
they're car
that's the
people,
thing.
it's fine.
Yeah, non-car people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we sold a Lexus GX we had built for off-roading.
Yeah.
He's like, "What should I know about?" I'm like, "Oh, I smashed that door in on a log off-roading, but I pulled it out with pliers, so it's fine." And it's like mangled.
Yeah. Great.
It's fine.
I mean, I bought your Miata.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically
fine.
you paid what I paid for it. So
Yeah,
I mean, it's
that was
just,
the deal.
and that's what you needed. You needed a car,
And I
and it was
think I
fun
sold
to have.
it for what I paid
Yeah,
for it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Man, if we kept that car, it would have been worth
It's
more
like
now.
pay
would've
it forward
been
at the drive-through. I'll pay for the next one.
Yeah. I mean, I do think us getting a dealer license would be really fun.
It's
I
probably
like the
easier to do
manufacturer
that.
one the most because I like the import idea.
I know. I just don't know how to do it.
You'd have to get
Are
like
you implying that like
start a
Stellantis
business
knows
for it.
how to be a manufacturer? Probably not.
That's a good point.
The bar is low. The bar is low. You got Coda. They managed
Yeah,
it.
so
If Coda
if Coda can
manage
do
it, you should be able to do it.
Also, yeah, whoever the Twizy came from, I can't remember the name of the company, but it was some real.
obscure.
Yeah.
All they have to
I
do
bet
is
there's less requirements to be manufactured than there are to be a dealer.
I think that
Because
could be
until
true.
you're selling, like, because when you're a dealer, you need money on hand, like a minimum amount of money on hand. There's
Yeah.
insurance requirements.
I think we just need to get an office in Michigan, which you could just rent a room for a few $100 a month.
Yeah. Ghost office.
That's our office.
Yeah.
And never
it's
go
a,
there.
It's a
Yeah,
toilet stall.
Yeah.
It's in the car and driver building.
And we're intending to build a car. Who's to say we aren't? I would love to. Wouldn't you love to build a car, Jordan?
yeah, you just put Chat GPT, have it come up with all the specs that you might want for an electric car.
Right. 1,000
Yeah.
miles of range.
$100 deposit.
Yep.
Charges in 5 minutes. You won't say anything about battery or anything. You just say, oh, 1,000
You don't
miles
need
range,
to.
charges in 5 minutes.
If
You can say numbers
Aptera
that...
can get M plates,
I was just thinking about Aptera.
We can get M plates.
Poor
Them.
Aptera. They've been gone for so long.
Ben's like, I would just want them to.
I love Aptera.
I
saying
just
that.
think it's a cool, goofy little car, and I have a
interesting
reservation. So part of me wants to see them succeed. I don't know if I want to buy one anymore. It was exciting to me 5 years ago. At this point, it's like, all right, guys, we keep
Well,
doing this.
guess what year Aptera became like a car company, I think?
20.
2010.
2007. I
Yeah, it
think
was
it
like
Wow.
usually
So
they're
they-
always
like
a lot
with Tesla.
longer.
It was combustion at first, wasn't
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
Along
And then
with-
they scrapped it
then,
all.
Back then, it was Aptera versus Elio. Remember that?
Elia.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
And
Now
neither
it-
have
Wait,
come.
Electromechanica, Solo. I mean, there's all these little weird companies that got their
it?
end
That
plates.
was a disaster. You know they had to buy them all back?
I heard.
You know Robert's got a few of
He's
them?
got 2 of them. Yeah. Did you see he rolled one? Or he let a friend drive
Oh,
in and
I
it
was going
rolled
to say, I
over.
didn't know if that was public yet. At the
Yeah,
time when
no,
we
it's
knew
posted.
it didn't know
Yeah,
if that
Oh
was
yeah,
public.
he posted a video.
Yeah,
of that.
over.
yeah.
But that's
This
funny.
is such a shame because it's a funny little car.
Yeah, it's-
we
I
had
mean,
a blast
you
You
with
guys
it.
drove them both, right?
Yeah, we
Was
did a
this the one where
race.
when you floored it, the back lifted up.
Yeah.
Yes,
It would
and
do
the
the torque.
Suspension torqued up.
Yeah.
It's such a funny thing, like a helicopter.
Yeah. It was a
That is
weird.
We were driving around LA in those. That was great.
We were locking up the brakes. We were trying to crash into each other. My dad had one. He did a video with one too.
yeah.
What a shitbox.
Wait, he bought one?
No, just
No,
made a
okay.
video
I was like,
with
I know
one. Yeah.
Dave's bought a lot of cars that I missed out on, but
What a
actually,
shit
my
box.
favorite comments I think I saw on the I-90 Surge was that, oh, Dave's team Lucid, who thinks they're going to still have it, or he'll have traded it in for another car by the time
yeah.
I get to the
Halfway
destination.
through. Yeah, he claims he's keeping his fleet right now. He's not changing it.
What is his fleet, actually? I'm curious.
He's got a new Model 3 Performance
Yeah.
in silver. It's a good color.
Oh, yeah, the new one.
Silver.
Great.
And
The
they
new
have,
Model S Silver looks great.
yeah, the new Model S Silver is better.
Lunar Silver,
Yeah,
so
Lunar
good.
Silver,
Very nice.
so nice.
I've only ever seen one on the road, but anyway,
Yeah. And then they have the Macan electric.
Momcon EV.
The Momcon.
the MomCon.
Yeah.
That's what, everyone was like, oh, Model Y Juniper, they're going to sell the Macan.
No.
But no. They're
They
not.
leased the Macan.
feels more premium.
Yeah,
still.
they'll keep it.
They
for
have
the
it for,
lease,
they did
yeah.
a 39-month lease, I
It was
think.
probably cheaper.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the residual didn't go down much.
39
Yeah.
and 36
Which is something
have
else
the same
we
residual
think
value.
That's why,
so
yeah.
it's just a lower payment at that point,
Yeah.
which is the win. Yeah.
Which is something else back to the Maserati we think they messed up when we leased it was the residual.
They bumped residuals for the next month, but they didn't stop the discounts from the prior month.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
So it was a perfect storm for that car.
I think that's the move. Like, don't buy a car. Here's what I think our viewers really should do is don't care about what car you buy. Just lease the best deal.
Yep.
And do
Especially
1 year
if it's a
leases.
lease. Yeah, 1 year, 2 year, maybe.
Bounce around and try some stuff out. Have good. Does it need to be the best car? No. It can be the cheapest car, and there's some beauty in a cheap car because you don't care about it.
I think what's nice is if you have the parking room, get one car that matters to you. Maybe it's your 911 or whatever it is. Get one nice car that like you are cool with, and then as a daily, get stuff to fuck around with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what you guys are doing.
At multiple times, I still think I would go for a Kona EV. I just think they're hilarious how much they do burnouts.
They rip the front tire.
I still remember that when you had this is when you first were getting like press cars.
Yeah.
You had a Kona EV.
Wasn't it my dad's?
Oh, yeah. It was
Oh,
your
no,
dad's.
that was your
And the
dad's.
Bolt
Yeah.
was
The
Bolt
Polestar
press
was like
car.
one of the first press car.
Yeah, it
press
was
cars you got, the
V60 and the Bolt.
The Bolt.
And the Bolt. Yeah, I remember those two. Yeah.
Yeah, but
that's right. The
V60
Kona. It was
Polestar.
around that same time.
Yeah. It was
They had
when
the-
we started YouTube.
Yeah, the Kona was your dad's. That's right, because you were road tripping and filming it.
That was
weren't
like
you?
maybe the last possible opportunity to ever really get into YouTube.
Yeah, because
In the
after
EV
COVID,
space.
everything got really hard.
'Cause it was like 2019.
saturated,
Yeah,
for sure.
and now there's a lot of startup creators that are doing
Oh,
this,
yeah, especially
which,
in
some
TV.
will succeed, but many of them I've just looked, I try and see what other channels
of
are
course,
doing
yeah.
and like
I get it.
we got look, I'm not saying that I had an easy time doing it, but it would almost be impossible
for
now
a-
to do it.
Yeah,
you were there for that. It
grind.
was a lot of ramen noodles,
Yeah,
but we made
you
it
were
work.
always editing and filming. Always, every day. There wasn't a day off.
Finding
really.
something, yeah.
That's
But
still the same.
Back, the
What's
Kona
the-
EV, I remember we went to grab food. I think we had ordered food one night, and you're like, "Oh, well, I'll take you from the Kona," and it was like raining.
Oh yes.
Oh my God! This was at that
like
Doverton.
100-mile-an-hour wheel speed.
Yeah, and it was up that hill, and it just spun for must have been felt like a quarter mile, just spinning the tire up the hill. Oh my God, that was hilarious.
Just someone outside the car, you're like, oh, is there an accident happening? Oh, it's still
It's just
happening.
constant,
How is someone
yeah.
still losing control this long?
That car was hilarious.
I took Jordan there, a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
To the old Doverton house.
oh, you drove by it when you got
yeah,
there?
yeah.
I got the full tour of the whole
Raleigh.
area.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's great.
You remember when that pickup truck crashed right in front of us?
Oh, yeah.
we
yeah.
were in your Model,
My
X,
Model X,
right when I first got Ellie.
Yeah, with little puppy.
She was
we
puppy
we
Ellie.
we took her to the beach.
Yeah, that's right. We were going to the beach.
We drove a Model X on 22s in sand and didn't get stuck
Didn't
somehow.
get stuck.
Close.
Almost.
And then that pickup truck crashed right in front of you.
Yeah, head on to tree.
He fell asleep and hit a tree,
At
maybe
30,
50. No, he was
40.
moving.
He
He was
was-
way
yeah.
over the speed limit.
It was
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I have never experienced shock until that moment because we're just in our neighborhood, leaving our
We
house.
had just made a right turn and we had gotten
Oh,
to
so it
12
was
miles an
on
hour.
lead
We were
mine.
accelerating
It was
out
on
of
lead mine.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
damn.
was literally right.
Yeah, and it was right after we turned. You could walk there from our house in 2 minutes.
Dang.
Like the car we had driven. It hadn't even registered 0.1 miles on the trip computer.
Right.
Like we were just pulling out of the driveway.
And then
at that point.
bam, accident. Ben runs over and helps the guy. And I'm
He
like,
had no idea what happened.
Yeah,
I'm like, "Are you okay?"
yeah
And
I
he's
remember
like,
he was stunned.
Yeah, why? I'm like, she just flew into a forest that's 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, he had no
in
idea.
shock, yeah.
It took him a second for him to figure out he was in an accident.
Oh
Yeah,
he had
it's
no idea.
amazing.
And then the fire people came and they all hung out with Ellie, and it was great.
Yeah, they all. Yeah, that's why she likes firemen so much. I think.
Yeah.
They're like, "How are you guys here?" Like, well, we just pulled out of where we live, right over there.
Yeah.
I just saw it.
Well, I remember thinking this is great training for Ellie. She's really being exposed to mailmen, fire guys, police. Because
All
you're
these
supposed to do that when you get a
noises. Yeah.
dog. Is like
So in your head, you're
yeah,
like, "This is
this is
perfect."
awesome.
Yeah.
They called all the and then we're really going off of EVs here,
That's
but
fine.
there was they had these neighborhood volunteer. They weren't police. I don't know,
Yeah.
neighborhood helpers. So this guy shows up in a
Escape.
Ford Escape,
Yeah.
and he says, "Is everyone okay?" I'm like, "No, this guy's pretty banged up, but we already called the police." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, are you able to help?" He's like, "No, I can't do first
just-
aid or
no,
anything.
I could just
And
hand
so
water.
He handed out water bottles. He gave everyone at the scene a couple water bottles out of the back of his little community emergency
Yeah, he was
response
of
vehicle
no
thing.
help other than handing out water bottles.
I was like, "Do you have any
know about
cones?"
this.
He didn't have cones.
He had nothing, just
He
water
had, I
bottles.
think, a first aid kit,
And
which he
you
wasn't
water.
allowed to use for liability reasons, and orange lights on the top of Ford Escape, and it said neighborhood support community, whatever, something, and that's all he does is go around and give people who get
Damn.
injured water, I guess.
I hadn't thought about that in forever.
So, what is your position exactly in the city government, and how much are you paid for this?
Not a lot.
That
Probably
is
volunteer.
government waste at its finest right there. No more Ford Escape hybrids.
Yeah. Was it a hybrid? I don't remember even.
It probably was.
Yeah, I hope it was.
Especially if it's a government car,
Probably.
guaranteed
Yeah.
hybrid. Any corporate car like that, government car.
Okay. Well, back to this trip. So we're going to find out how much degradation your Model S has.
Yeah, for real. Yep.
We're then going to make a
challenge?
video with it on the Out of Spec Reviews channel.
Yeah.
So this Model S will be featured on our podcast channel here in this video, then Out of Spec Reviews, and then Out of Spec Testing for the range test and 10% challenge. And I think it's going to do... Look, we're never here. Ben, you're the same way. Mike, you're the same way. We're not here to promote EVs. We're here just to see how good or bad they are and
We just
whatever.
like cars.
Just like cars. But I really think that this is going to impress a lot of people.
Yeah, just be good. It's
Initial
original battery
impressions are
too.
strong
That's
for
the best
me,
part.
for sure.
Because
We didn't know what
250,000
to
miles
expect.
is a ton.
And then for us to drive and like have confidence, be like, yeah, we'll just drive it across the country over 3,000
Yeah,
miles.
actually,
without
blind.
just
What other brand of car? What other car would you go? I'm going to drive across the country, the longest 3,000 miles, blind, sight unseen, pick this car up and have confidence. Not many cars.
No, I don't even think
I
like
wouldn't do that in a Corolla.
I wouldn't
Toyota
do it
Camry,
in a
no thanks.
Taycan actually. Early Taycans have weird issues.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it in a
Yeah, the early
pre-2022 Taycan. I can do that much.
yeah.
Well,
I mean, it
they've all
was
had
just
software updates by now.
They've
So
all
if it's
had
been,
battery
if it was-
replacements.
If it's at a dealer, it's fine. If it's been through a Porsche dealer recently, I'd be
Yeah.
okay. But after that, yeah, if it hadn't, I'd be like, no.
But I mean, at least also I know like this car had access to the Tesla supercharger network. So I was like, well, I know there's plenty of places to charge. I know it's plug and charge, so
Yeah.
it works.
I mean, the charges
just
are
might
at
take
most
a while.
110 miles apart at the worst case scenario.
How many people do you think got screwed buying Model S 40s that don't supercharge by accident?
Couple.
Oh,
Oh no, I've seen us appraise a few of those lately.
Really?
We
I want one.
recently appraised one with like 30,000 miles on it.
Well, that they probably just drove it consistently. An AC
It was
charger.
the same price as this car.
That's crazy.
Appraised for.
So Model S 40s were 60s,
60 batteries,
software limited,
Yeah.
no supercharging, and a hardware limitation. They needed to go in for a physical part upgrade to DC charge. I thought
but I don't think they could.
you
Are
had to
those eligible
upgrade to
for
60.
CCS?
No, the early ones can't CCS charge.
So you need a refresh,
Are you going to do the CCS swap on yours?
maybe.
You should.
We
It's like
talked about it. We might.
$350.
Do it.
But we're
Just
never
do
going to
it.
need it.
You say that, and then
We might
like,
go on other. I mean, we
You know,
will
the
go
only
on
time
other
it would have been
trips,
nice
but-
is when we got to the charging hub you guys have, and then we're going to plug it in there. You know, like that would have been great. But
$350. Just get it.
yeah.
probably will just for the sake of
I
it.
know. Like Ben says, oh, maybe he's wishy-washy, but Ben wants it
I'm gonna play
just
with
to
it.
fool around, like to play with the numbers, just
Yeah.
to see
yeah,
what it
you're
does.
out there covering
That's
your
exactly
Rivian
what he
cameras
wants.
with tape.
So he's happy to do that. He will spend the money to do it. I
Just
know he
give me
will.
just keep a camera near me, and it might actually result in content. But I'll just do it on my own otherwise.
So obviously the Model S is like a obviously a cheap daily car, but you've had other EVs.
yeah,
Yep.
So what was your first electric car?
My first own electric car was my 2014 Model S P85 Plus.
Right. How many miles did that have?
That one had 68,000 miles on it.
What'd you
when I
pay
bought
for
it.
that back then?
That car was 22 grand.
Wow. And now you're getting a way
That
better
was in
car.
19. Yeah, that was in 19.
And then what? You had the e-tron?
Yeah,
Did
so
you
I was-
trade that on the e-tron?
No, I actually traded the Tesla on the V90.
Oh,
Volvo.
that's right. Yeah.
And then
That
the
was a
Volvo.
nice car.
Oh man, that's
Wasn't
the one
it
car.
front
I
wheel
wish-
drive though?
It was a
T5
T5 front wheel
R-Design.
drive.
Why
R
didn't you
design.
get the all-wheel drive?
That's because that's what was there, and it was a really good deal.
Yeah.
and it was CPO,
not a
And
lot of wagons.
that's right,
out
it was
there to pick
CPO.
and
from.
it had
the lowering
13,000
springs.
miles on it.
$200 for lowering springs?
Yeah, it had the sport chassis or whatever
Yeah.
they called it, but the car sat like perfect.
It was
on the
amazing.
20s. It looked great.
I remember
I missed that
used
car a lot.
that when we had the V60 Polestar to the dogs got out.
Yes,
And
I
we
still
had-
have that. We have that photo like with both of them lined
Yes.
up. Yeah,
Yep.
that was oh man,
We
I miss that car.
wrangled
That
the
was a good
dogs
car.
with 2 Volvo wagons.
Yeah, how European can you get?
And didn't we take them both on a road trip?
We took them both to the
Yeah.
Smoky Mountains to film that video where we crashed the drone and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we drove
It
it
was a
up
rough
to do
first out of
driving.
spec video attempt.
It was kind of like the support
All
car when
early
you were
out of
filming the V60 Polestar. Yeah, because you were trying to find good roads.
Right. And
so
we
I don't
wanted
even
to
think it
film
was.
car reviews. We didn't know we were going to be
It was
these
like
idiots
north of
with iPhones.
Greensboro. We
Yeah.
went to the Blue Ridge Parkway area. That's where I think
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
we
wasn't
tried
like
too
normal.
hard.
it was like 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away. It wasn't that
Yeah.
far. It was yeah. It was like a one random Sunday.
Yeah.
we did it.
I think
yeah.
the EV thing really started might have been when we did. So when Tesla had their version 2 superchargers where they unlocked them. So they went from being like, limited to 100.
120 to 150.
Oh, I think we did it before that. Because remember, we got like we got everyone's, Marianne, Don,
Yeah,
we got all
the whole
these EVs.
Tesla club.
We got every single Tesla battery
still
pack
have their
together one
Model
night,
X.
and we drove them empty and got them hot
Yeah.
to do like a charge test. I think that was really the inflection point to a degree
Yeah,
for the EV.
that's when we were like, oh, doing EV
Yeah.
stuff.
My Model X 90D was there, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when you bought that first smart car. We had to go trailer it back.
I couldn't figure out, how did we buy that car?
I think I was
It
on
was
Facebook
so
Marketplace, and I
random.
was like, "Did you know these were electric?" And I don't think we had much more thoughts in our brains after that.
And it was cheap because it didn't run,
I
right?
think
No, it was $4,000. It
It worked
ran.
at $4,000.
Well, no, the guy didn't know it ran or
He
something.
just
It was
said,
just
"I
really
take this
cheap.
thing to Walmart."
No. It was a battery lease.
Yes,
It was
the
some-
Battery
Remember that?
Assurance Plus program.
They
That
should,
backbone.
and so
It was. I remember going to this dude and picking up with you guys. Yeah, we rented
Yeah.
the U-Haul trailer.
no,
Didn't? Yeah.
No,
I
that was
thought
smart
he
car number
dro-
2.
that
Oh, no,
he towed it
drove
to
it
us
back.
because it was a nice
he
day.
drove it. This was before we moved to Doverton. This was when
This
we
is in
lived
the
at the
apartment.
apartment.
This is
Yeah,
we were
by
Tesla
Briar
employees then,
Creek.
yeah.
Briar Creek.
Yeah, Briar Creek.
I remember that car. Yeah, that's right. He did deliver
He
it.
brought it.
He delivered
He
it.
delivered
Free
it.
shipping.
on
I was
a
thinking of the second
trailer,
one.
And I remember him. I got it. I signed the title. We, it was our car.
Yeah, this is like the first time any of us have ever done something.
Okay,
Like, here's the title.
Okay, thanks. I held the title to a vehicle. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah,
but then
because you had your oh no, you didn't have your M3 anymore. I don't think. Maybe you did.
the M3 was a lease, but I think I
Yeah,
had it.
you still had it.
You did.
But
Yeah,
we got the Smart, and I remember him emailing me a couple weeks later and saying like, "Oh, by the way, the bank or whatever is after me because I didn't have you sign the document to get the leased battery."
Yes, that's right.
And I was like, "I have the title to this car. This is my car."
What do you
Never
mean a
responded.
lease?
It was like, lease the battery. That's
is-
your problem.
I mean,
so
yeah.
I don't know if that ever. I wonder if he got like dinged on his credit.
I don't know.
It never
either that
affected
or he
me.
just had to
problem with,
pay
like,
for a
rental
difference,
battery lease
maybe.
battery stuff is like it's not tied to the car, and like the systems in place for registration and handling all this and ownership aren't set up for this logic yet.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah, I
they
don't
just
know.
forgave it.
I'm
Probably.
sure they must have.
But it was like $60
Or you
a
had to
month.
pay a fee to
It
get
was.
out of it.
Oh, I forget about this.
Yeah, it was like $60 a month because the car was one thing and the battery was theirs, and you could lease the battery. And that the idea was if the battery ever broke, they would
Yeah,
replace
you didn't
it.
have to worry about it as the owner, technically.
And I don't know why Mercedes ever thought this was a good idea in the American market.
It's
Because you have the title, which means you own the car. The battery's part of the
yeah.
car.
Is it in the car? Yes, it's mine.
Yeah, but that was my argument. And so after, he never disclosed that up front. I knew that could have been a thing because a lot of smarts were
Yeah,
battery
you had
leased.
some knowledge of it.
Yeah.
I think we remember you talking about that, but then nothing came up. So you were like, "Oh, maybe this one didn't have that."
Yeah,
I
maybe it
don't know.
didn't. And then a couple
And
weeks
you signed
later,
a thing like, "Here's the title," and you signed like, "I'm buying this car as is."
Yep.
Like, I'm
Yeah,
not
we
gonna
did
come after
a
you for
typical
nothing. Yeah.
buyer's agreement.
Yep, and then
And then he emailed me. He's like, "Oh, I need you to sign this document so you can
And
take over the battery
like,
lease." And I'm like,
delete.
"Yep, no thanks."
I missed it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's my car. That's my battery. Legally, that's my
How
battery.
long did you have that first smart car? for?
Years. Didn't we have it for a couple of
Until
years?
Did you sold it and then eventually the battery failed?
Right. We
or
sold it to
inverter
some
failed?
really nice people. I can't remember their names, but they were really nice people.
Yeah, they're very nice.
And the onboard charger failed. And they let it die.
Yeah.
And then I
couldn't-
bought it back.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I bought it back. And we tried to revive it, and we couldn't revive it.
Do you know it is
Because
revived
you tried to
now?
replace.
I thought the batteries went to stationary storage at Chris Maxwell's house.
Yes, but the other parts of that car are at Chris Maxwell's house still, in his smart EV that got in a wreck, and he has like hodgepodged. So like half of his current, I think one, I believe, is the other half of yours now.
Really?
So two
I'd love
cars
to go
became
check
one.
that
kept
out
it on
and
the
film
road.
it.
We recently saw him.
I saw him
somewhere.
at Eurofest. Or
Oh,
whatever
yeah, it's
car
some
Doesn't
show.
he work
thing.
at ChargePoint?
I don't know anymore.
Oh, okay.
He was working
did.
for the universities for a while. He might
Yeah,
have
he
moved
went
around.
university. Then I thought he went ChargePoint. But
Might
they're
have been.
EV people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very much.
cool. Yeah, cool. Bird people too. They have birds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I will never have a bird as a pet, but anyway.
They're fun. They're interesting. Different.
I would like to have a friend who has one of the cockatoos that are really funny
As a friend.
as a friend, but then go home to
Yes,
silence.
exactly.
Yeah,
You can
like,
leave.
go home to silence.
No offense to anyone who has birds.
Yeah.
You do have to just
Yeah,
listen.
a just a little
They're-
offense.
yeah, well, a little, but they're not for everybody.
Right.
For sure.
So that was the smart car situation. But okay, back to
Back
your
to us.
EVs.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah.
you had e-tron, no, Volvo, then e-tron?
Yeah, so because I sold the Model S to the Volvo dealer and bought the V90, and then the V90 I traded in on the e-tron, which was the e-tron premium with the black optic pack. So it wasn't a premium plus, so it didn't have
Right.
any
It
ambient
was
lighting.
kind of base.
It was
Oh, yeah.
extremely base, but it looked
No
great
lumbar on passenger side. I
Right.
didn't like that.
because it was white.
I remember
with
your
the black
buttons were not
accents.
as nice on the inside
They
of
were
the car.
plastic buttons.
Yep, they were
instead of,
plastic, yeah.
gloss black,
But it
which
had-
actually is now better in hindsight, maybe.
But it
Doesn't
had
get
the full
scratched.
ADAS and all that. Like
Yeah.
the only things it was really missing was cooled seats,
Mm-hmm.
ambient lighting, the more, I guess, more motion, like more movement in the seat, and then
Yeah, massage seat and then sound deadening. You did the
and it
single
did
pane
not
glass.
have.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, and it didn't have the upgraded sound system, which definitely is worth it if you're going to get.
Yeah,
an
we
e-tron.
have the big boy sound
Yeah,
system
the
in ours.
Bang &
And it's
Olufsen.
crazy.
great, great.
It's
move.
amazing. I think actually, after
very
experiencing everything, I still think that's the best sound system. Better than Cyber, better than the Rivian and the e-tron.
Really?
I think if you dial it in right, it probably
Yeah.
is going to be really.
Mine's great. I mean, I can blow out the windows of the car next to me with that thing. It's
good. And it's all sound deadened.
Oh yeah,
so
it's-
just you hear nothing.
It sounds so good.
And then so the e-tron, I ended up leasing.
You got a great deal. That was one of the first great EV deals.
That
This
was
is
a
when
really
the
good
market
EV deal.
was crazy at the start of COVID, when it was crazy the other direction because everyone was like, how are we going to get rid of cars?
right. It was that
Yep.
dip before
it was
the climb.
slight
Yeah.
dip right before everything went up. So I ended up timing that perfectly because the Volvo, whatever, I had a little bit of equity in the Volvo, and I just put that for down payment. It wasn't a lot. It was probably like $2,000 to $3,000, $2,500 somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
And then that car, I ended up selling back to the Audi dealer without buying another car, and they wrote me a check for $12,000.
Right, because the market went so
It was so
up.
crazy they couldn't
Yeah.
get e-trons.
Now you can't sell an e-tron.
I know.
The e-tron market is it's a little bit like Bitcoin. You got to know when to buy and sell.
But they're awesome cars regardless.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
even even the premium, it had the air suspension. We brought it out onto the beach and drove up and saw the horses.
Yeah, you
in
did the Outer
Corolla.
Banks trip with
Yeah,
that, yeah.
and it just it was silent going down the beach.
Yeah.
All these guys in their lifted Jeeps and 4Runners, and we're just like cruising right by.
Just
and
put
the
it in
e-tron.
all road mode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
we
lift it
did.
right up. Yep. We have some
and then
pictures
you had
of that
one other
somewhere.
EV before I dump all mine out.
For me.
Yeah.
EV.
Yeah,
Oh
one
yeah,
more.
I had the Mini.
Oh, forgot about the
I bought
Cooper
a new
SE.
Cooper SE. Yeah.
That was the cheapest new
I
electric
ordered
car
it
for
new.
sale.
Yeah, and it was 30.
You surprised us with that.
Yeah, it was like
Yes.
33 grand. It was like the mid trim level. Like it didn't have many options.
Green,
on
white
it.
roof,
Yeah.
proper spec.
But it
white
was-
roof.
yeah.
Rails.
Green.
Shout out.
I did do roof rails
Because
this
on
time
your
because my
last
original
Mini-
Mini that I ordered. So I ordered also I had a 2017 Mini Cooper S.
Because
two-door.
we're all Mini enthusiasts. Ben and I were in
Yes.
the Minis, everything.
Yeah, you guys are the reason why I ended up buying one originally. Probably the reason why Tom ended up buying his too. But that car, and I ordered it again. That car was $30,500 sticker. Like great car. Thinking back on the value of it.
Yeah.
But I did not get roof rails.
And it
on
looked terrible.
Yeah, it
was
was
pepper white,
pepper
right?
white.
Yep.
Yeah, with the black roof. I did pepper white with the black roof.
Yeah. I
So
remember
this.
you hit a deer in that car.
Yep, on the way to Tail the Dragon, I hit a
Yeah.
deer on the way there driving from Memphis.
And then you did JCW tuning kit.
I got the tuning kit installed 2 days before I hit the deer on the car.
Right.
Yeah.
That sucks.
So like I was still able to drive the car. Like it wasn't luckily like disabling damage,
Right.
but it still sucked. And I got rid of it because I could never look at it again because
Yeah.
the repairs were horrible. So I ended up selling it. And then I thought about that when I ordered this electric one. Like, well, I got to put the $250 roof rails on it.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Or
everyone's gonna
we
give me a
won't be
hard
friends
time.
with you.
Yeah, exactly.
You
That was
will
a
lose
nice
your
car though.
partner in life.
And it qualified for the tax credit too. So I got a $7,500 tax credit on that car.
Yeah.
That was a great car too for the year that I
Why
owned
did
it.
you sell it?
I sold it to get back into a Volvo wagon. I had a V60 cross country for a little
yeah.
while after that. With
That
the
was a
cloth
short
seats.
run, though.
Yeah, it had
You had the cool seats.
It had the cool seats and the Bowers and Wilkins.
Yep.
Still a great sound system.
Yeah, it's a great sound system.
But that was the last EV that I owned personally. Was the Mini.
And now you got the Model S. Is that yours
Yeah.
or Ben's?
It's ours.
It's ours, but I mean, I will be mine when the Maserati goes back.
I got my truck.
So Ben, what do you have now? So let's go through the current fleet.
Okay.
I'm going to pull up the
we're
photos.
going to go backwards in time,
Okay.
starting modern then. So the current fleet, my daily driver is a Rivian R1T Quad Gen 1
Gen one.
Meridian sound
You bought
system.
it from Rivian.
Bought it from
which was a
Rivian
pain.
as a demo vehicle.
It was a
took
pain.
49 days from start to finish to just try and give them money.
Why?
I don't know. All I want to do is give them money. And then it was in Massachusetts. They said they wouldn't ship it.
texted
And I was like,
out, yeah.
okay, I'll come drive it back. Then they wanted to back out because they said, oh, well, we can't sell this car to anyone outside of Massachusetts. I said,
Yeah.
well, that's funny because on your website it says you can't sell it to someone in Massachusetts either because of the dealer laws. So how are you going to sell it? And then they sold it to me. I think they gave up. I said, I'm willing to register the car myself. I don't need help. Just give me the title and I'll give you the money. So I've got that as the daily driver. LA silver, black interior. I forget the name of the black
Yeah,
interior.
you loaned it to me and Jordan the other week.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that.
Black Mountain.
Yeah, you guys told me
Something.
about all of my suspension rattles that Rivian says are normal. I'd like to let you know.
Your car has some issues. Your truck has some issues.
Yeah, it's got some clunks in that suspension.
I mean,
And
yeah,
I
it
think
had
the brake
10,000 miles on it.
lines are loose. I don't know. It makes a noise.
Oh,
Looks so good.
thank God
though.
for regen.
Yeah, no, it's got a lot of regen, thankfully.
Kyle, we have to take your rack off. It looks so good without a rack.
Yeah,
it's
we
a good
can.
photo, isn't it? With the tray.
I mean, the rack hurts efficiency quite a bit.
Yeah.
I don't put anything on the
oh,
rack.
I also thought it was going to have power tonneau. Does not have power tonneau.
Oh.
It
It wasn't on the
removed.
sticker, though.
It wasn't on the sticker.
But isn't
they
yours-
didn't give me the sticker till after I bought the car. I asked many times before.
They're
giving
so
them money.
weird. You have to give them money, then they tell you about it.
Yes.
Yes.
They do. That's a
And
Rivian problem.
It's non-refundable.
Never
and I
heard
don't
of
know
that
why.
before.
And the other weird thing about it is I wanted the window sticker because I wanted to know what the destination delivery fee is because it used to be like $1,200.
Yeah.
And it became $1,900 later. And I'm like, well, this car was built when it was $1,200. I was like, which one is it? So you don't know your final price then. It's a little cagey. It's almost like a sketchy dealership experience in a way.
Huh.
Like for me, coming from a
Yeah.
dealership where I'm used to the transparency and seeing how like I know the question to ask. I'm trying to get like answers and no one wants to give them.
Yeah, I think that's some of like Rivian has
It's probably
an
a structural
amazing
issue
product.
with their orientation of everything.
They have a really good buying experience if you follow their normal
Yes.
experience.
If you deviate, it's a mess.
And if you try to do anything custom, it all falls apart.
Yep.
That's what I
Like
hear from people all the
instantly,
time. Yeah. They just
Yeah.
cannot, like, even registration and titling things and, like,
Definitely heard of some issues
they're
when
weird.
it comes to that.
yeah. And so that's their biggest issue at the moment. It's really not the trucks. The trucks are great. I mean, I'm sure you like your truck.
Love it. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
be an easy buyer.
I like
Try
the
not to be
truck.
complicated. Just if you have a trade, probably trade it somewhere else. Like just make it simple and it'll be relatively okay.
Yeah,
They're
just-
still learning how to sell cars, basically, is the issue.
Yeah. And I think
Which we had that at Tesla early days.
early days of Tesla was similar. But now I would argue that you go and buy a Tesla now, it's a way better experience than your average dealer experience.
Oh, I think it's better than probably anywhere because
Yeah, I
you don't
remember
have
when
to
you
talk
bought
to
yours.
people. You can just do it on your phone and then just show up and leave.
It's amazing.
You have
it's
to sign
pretty good.
paperwork in some states, don't forget.
Yeah.
For my
A lot of
more
people
recent
drive
Model
off.
3, I think I clicked a couple things and I walked in. I had to sign 2 sheets and I left.
Yep.
Yeah, here
like a
The
when
title
I-
car's just
agreement.
waiting.
2
for you.
sheets. I'm trying to think. My Cybertruck was all digital.
Yeah, I think in some circumstances
Yeah.
it can be. It probably just depends.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just walk up like it's already in your app. You get in the truck. Here you go.
Well, like, so I had to buy the Cybertruck in my dad's name because I used his referral points to skip the line,
Oh, okay.
but I still paid for it. So like,
Yeah.
I went to Tesla and I'm like, they're like, David Connor. I'm like, yeah. Like, click some buttons. Have a nice day.
Tesla saw the money come into their account. They're like, we're good.
Yep. All right. So the Rivian,
Rivian?
give us the rundown, quick impressions on the truck.
Truck.
Would you recommend it? Would you do Gen 2? What do you think?
Right now, the only thing Gen 2 has, in my opinion, is future ADAS might be nice. I'm okay with, if they're going to do mapped roads only, I don't really care about how good the ADAS is
That's
because
the
I can't
most
use it wherever I
annoying
want.
shit on the
It's so
planet.
annoying. It's so annoying. 'Cause
Any
you'll be on a
manufacturer
road
does
that'll
that.
be
It's
like
annoying.
mapped. Oh, unmapped. Mapped, unmapped, mapped, unmapped. It'll like toggle sometimes.
That's I-25 right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
awful.
Jordan just interviewed their head of ADAS.
Just let me do it. It's not like you're giving me hands free. So just
What
let me
did
do
they
it.
say?
Yeah, well, I was like, so the mapped thing. He's like, I know. He cut me off. He's like,
They know,
I know.
I'm sure.
I know. And they should have hands free in pre-mapped again, which is going to be useless around here, anyways.
You know, our roads here are terribly mapped.
Ours are okay.
So hands free system will be coming sometime this year.
I don't even care.
Well, first they said lane centering without pre-mapping is coming before the end of the year. And
Gen
then
2 only, I suspect.
probably.
Dang.
And
Oh,
then
well.
hands free is coming, probably also Gen 2 before that. So those are both coming this year, apparently.
If they can do lane centering without mapping
Welcome to 2016.
and their trucks won't overheat after a minute of driving them hard, which they've gotten better with the oil-cooled Gen 2 motors,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the battery still gets hot, then it won't cool itself. So like I still can't do one Angeles Crest run in them.
And it won't tell you battery temperature while you're charging it. Annoys
That's
the hell
annoying.
out of me.
I
And
know.
if they can fix the damn charging, I'll buy a Gen 2.
I was going to say the charging.
The charging's the big one.
I actually think it's pretty good, and the charging isn't awful. It's just the efficiency makes you notice that charging more.
Yeah, that's the thing,
Yeah.
but it's also still a 135 kilowatt hour pack in
Got
ours,
smaller recently, yeah.
and they just charge like ass. And the newer ones charge worse because they use a newer cell that's cheaper.
Yep.
So we get, because you have a large pack in yours,
Large pack, yep.
we get 217, 219 kilowatts.
220 almost, yeah.
The new ones don't really go over 200.
Oh. This car, the truck, I have a new appreciation for its charging curve after this Model S. Admittedly, so
you're
I'm not
comparing
going to
it
as
the wrong
negative.
way.
I was going to say.
Look at Zeekr.
But I had a Taycan.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I had a
look at
Taycan
almost
as my
any.
last EV. That was a good charge curve. It's nice and meaty and just dead flat through it. It just pulls
That's what you
ton.
need.
So I think LFP is the way to go in the Gen 2. If you
Yes.
just
Just go small.
Those charge pretty well.
full charge at home and you're not hurting it, but also when you do need to go charge it, it actually charges pretty great.
Yeah.
And the range is fine, efficiency is fine.
And it had the best thermal, warm weather thermal it can handle. Maybe in the cold it's rough. We really need to get an LFP here for winter testing.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let's work on that.
And Lucid in the winter would be great, but they won't give us a car in the winter.
Yeah, Lucid literally told us
Oh,
they won't
really?
give us a car in the winter because they want it to show the best efficiency in the summer. And I said, why don't you give us a car now? And then we'll just hold on to it till the summer.
And we will we'll make 2 videos.
Just give it to us now. We promise we won't drive it till summer.
No, we will drive it, but it's like, for the real testing stuff, we'll hold on to it.
Yeah.
I just really love having a Lucid around. I think they
It's a
liked
nice
it
car.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
every
got
single
so much-
range test, it got positive coverage. It's like, look at this Lucid rescuing this dead
yeah,
EV.
exactly.
It's like just park one here and leave it.
Right.
They did park a set of their nice wheels though I have on, just in case we ever have one on test and it has the wrong wheels.
Yeah.
Do you want
Out the window.
to finish off the garage or no?
Yeah.
So we have a lot in the garage at the moment. We've got a Z4M Roadster.
What year is that?
That I think it's a 2006.
It's a 06.
Okay.
Manual?
I too many cars.
They're,
3 liter?
They're all manual.
3
3
liter. Was it S52?
It's an S engine in there?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
it's
the
a
same
M.
as an E46 M3, 333 horsepower in
Lovely.
a motor.
Must sound great.
8,000 RPM.
It does
red line.
sound
You
It
should
amazing.
put like an
moves.
open intake on it so you can hear like a sort of
It
an
needs
ITB type.
Oh,
feel.
you can hear the
Needs one.
ITBs
Yeah.
because it's convertible.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the roof's down, you can hear it for sure. V8 Vantage Aston Martin manual.
So I want to drive that because I almost bought one of these.
It's a great car.
Yeah.
It's a great
years
car.
ago. Yeah. And
The interior quality
they
is
have
phenomenal.
hit a price point about 10 years ago and have stayed there.
Yep, not depreciated.
Yes,
You
they
enjoy
went
that?
up briefly.
Good car,
this
reliable
past year,
too.
but now
Nothing
they're
to
back
be
down to
afraid of
whatever.
on them, other than leather peeling, basically.
Well,
Which
yeah.
ours doesn't have.
Yeah, it doesn't have.
And what's this here?
That is the star of the garage. That is the Wallbox Pulsar Pro Fisker Motors Edition from the bankruptcy bidding. So they had to dump a bunch of their stuff with Fisker going bankrupt. So I got one of the Fisker branded wall chargers for I think it was $250, which is for a 40 amp EVSE with smart functions and load sharing capabilities. It's a good deal. But I just thought it was funny.
You also have a plant.
It's the world's largest.
It's a
spider
6
plant.
foot tall snake plant. Yeah, it's
Or
a really
snake
big
plant.
plant.
My plant will get there someday.
Yeah. We got a 992 Carrera T manual, Ruby Star Neo, best color.
Yeah, I drove this right after you got it.
Yeah.
Love that.
That's the
It was
the
in
sports
break-in
car.
period, and Ben's like, "Who gives a shit?
It's
Run
a
it to
lease.
red
It's a
line."
lease.
It's
Yeah.
a lease.
I was
Which
like,
he's now not buying out of his lease.
I'm not
Now
buying
doesn't
it out of
matter.
my lease.
well,
so it's
good
fine.
because I know how I drove it when it was in break-in period. Don't buy this thing.
You know how you drove it in break-in period. That photo is taken at VIR International Raceway in break-in period as well. I think that was at like 800 miles.
Amazing.
Still, it's been fine.
Yeah, I
But
just
that's the
drove that car
911
the other
thing.
day.
They
you
just
can't
don't
hurt
care.
911s.
Yeah.
They don't.
Like I've not driven that car too much. I just drove it the other day, and I was like, wow, they just do it right. Porsche
Yeah.
just nails the manual transmission.
Yeah, feels
And
good.
it's buckets,
handles
right?
It's carbon
fiber
buckets. Yeah,
buckets.
you're just in there, just perfect. Everything's where it should be. The
Everything, yeah.
steering's amazing.
I can take that thing and
Sounds
thrash it
great.
around track on a 99-degree day.
Yeah.
And the oil temps, the coolant temps, everything just stays fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't care.
They're so good.
They're so good at track stuff.
They're so good.
They're so good at sports cars.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Even this factory brakes are okay with a ton of hard driving. Like it doesn't pedal doesn't get soft, doesn't get.
I remember
freaked out
I
or
did a
anything.
track day in a Cayenne V6.
I love
and it
that
was
video.
fine.
Yes.
That video I've shown some of that video.
Yeah,
recently.
with Ross Gobble
Ross
filming
Gobble
it.
following you, and he's just laughing, and
Because
you're
I had
getting lift
full
off oversteer.
opposite lock in the Cayenne.
Very good car.
I took it to a mini track day.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. There's the Z4. Looks great. I did not really remember you had this car.
I forget we own it too sometimes.
How
didn't really
nice is
tell
it
anyone
that
about
they did the kidney grills?
Properly.
Properly.
Normal size.
Oh, like normal and in silver and not humongous. And
It's
yes.
that the color for those who are watching, it's Sepang bronze, which you could only get on the M car.
That's a beautiful color.
I need to drive this.
Okay.
Yeah,
You better
maybe we
come
should
soon.
go out and-
Cars aren't long in our world.
Right, yeah.
Jordan, maybe you should buy this from them.
It's
You-
Sepang
actually,
bronze.
give you a good
if
deal.
You got a good enough deal.
I would give it a good deal to a friend.
Here's the Maserati we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Maserati is just black over black.
It's about as long as the Rivian R1T.
Oh,
It's a
so-
really
It's
large
huge.
car.
Whoops,
It's humongous.
I'm messing up here with the zoom.
Oh yeah, I think the wheelbase is as long as the Rivian's.
It's really big, or
It's
at least
huge.
as long as an R1S.
Wow.
So
It's the
fun
largest
fact.
two-seater, like two-door car I've ever been in.
So you've heard us mention the price. So the MSRP in that car was $197,000 after options. One of the options on that car was an $8,500 ADAS package. So that car has the full steering and all
It's
that.
probably the same ADAS they put in a Dodge Dart
It's
It is.
exactly the
yes,
same.
it is. But they charge $8,000 on this one.
because that's what they do.
Like
That's
you
why
look,
I
you get
hate Stellantis.
you get into a Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo,
yeah.
same thing. $8,000
The
a
buttons are
Maserati.
the same.
So they make an electric one of these too.
They
You drove
do
it the full door.
I drove it.
Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. They make it in a convertible too,
Yes.
which is actually super cool.
And it drove great. Who was I was with Colton for that.
Skyhook
It
suspension.
is only 6 inches shorter wheelbase than Rivian R1S.
Wow.
It's a
It
big.
looks very
It's
similar.
a
and they're
very
next to
big
each other.
two-door car.
So I mean,
The
the
door is
electric one was
massive.
great. They're very expensive. They're going to be worth nothing.
Oh, the Trofeos.
I actually
Gas motors are
might enjoy
very
one of those
expensive.
in
So
the
what
future.
do you? Yeah. So this is the 6-cylinder.
Nettuno twin turbo V6.
They're all 6-cylinders, even the Trofeo, right?
Yep, they're just got a bigger tune on them.
Okay. Well,
It has 100 more horsepower than this one.
I just
This
look
is
at Maseratis and hate them,
485.
Yeah,
I think
as
the
one should.
Trofeos have 585.
but for $300 something a month.
I love it. Yeah. I don't have to worry about it. It does not get great gas mileage, unsurprisingly.
Well, you're also driving it,
And I drive it pretty hard.
Get
And the wheel,
fart
it's probably pretty close to needing tires, but I'm just going to ride it out until I turn it
It's
in.
a lease. It's only got one left. Yeah.
It's probably pretty close. I bet you they're pretty close.
Well, that's cool. Okay. So would you get the electric one if they give you a hot deal on one?
We'd
Oh,
probably
absolutely.
You'd absolutely consider it.
I'll take
Yeah.
any car for a
We've
hot
already
deal.
told
I
the
don't
old
discriminate.
GM there, if you have another deal on the electric
Yeah.
Fulgore.
Yeah.
You know the
they
crazy
drive
thing?
great. They feel like I
Yeah.
drove this one after driving the electric one, and the electric one feels lighter, faster, more
Oh, wow.
nimble.
Impressive.
It's like a tri-motor thing, so it's like
Torque
really
vector, yeah.
fun.
Yeah, the battery pack down low, so like I bet you it does drive amazing.
It's actually one of the best EVs I've driven. It has no route planning.
Yes.
It has like none of that good
Yeah, I don't
stuff.
think any
It's got the
like
same
stuff
cell as first gen Taycan.
That's why it has that high speed charging.
Yes,
capability. Very
270
interesting.
kilowatt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I want one now.
Yeah.
I'll
they're-
take a
It's
cab.
actually pretty cool. If you can lease one for, you know,
Sure.
$400 a month.
You know the crazy
I'd go up to 500.
You would
We
go
were
to
leasing that car for
I don't know.
$350.
It's $300,000.
And at the time in the showroom, there's another guy looking at it, considering it, and he was like, "I'm not sure." And we're like, "Dude,
oh yeah, because
either you want the deal of a lifetime, or you are just like the biggest like waste of time ever. Like, buy it or not. I don't know."
when the deal initially came up, there was 3 of them available. So the one that at first, because Ben texted me, he's like, "Hey, do you want a Maserati for like $300 a month?" I was like, "I mean, if that's
wasn't a
real,
question.
sure."
It was just you're getting one, really.
And then, so there was 3 available to choose from. There was a white over brown,
Oh, that sounds nice.
the black, and then there was the factory matte gray over black.
Oh, I would have done that.
Well, we didn't because the residual was different because of the
Yeah,
cost.
it really-
that car
that was a
was
really bad deal.
$203,000.
Damn.
So like that, I guess that price point adjusted
Okay.
the residual. But I really wanted the white over,
White or
Yeah.
brown would
and
be
they
cool.
sold it an hour before we.
I'm
got back
impressed
to
to hear about the EV one being good. I look forward to buying one in a few years
I
for
watched
like
his videos good on it.
$18,000.
What's going on with your mirror here,
Oh yeah,
brother?
this is a. I don't know if that's up for the viewers there. That is the crosswinds blew the mirror cap partially off of this Model S.
So we were driving it through Wyoming today.
Yeah, it said gusts up to 75 miles an hour is what the sign said.
Yep. Welcome
So
to
I,
Wyoming.
so I just
Yeah.
rolled the window down and just put my hand out, like pushed down and pulled towards me, and just fix it every time.
You just kept smacking it down.
I wonder if it happens to Ryan at all. Do we know what percent Ryan's at?
I don't think
we'll
it
do
would.
a real time behind the scenes range test update. He is at 32% going 71 miles an hour as he should. GPS 70.
Yeah.
It says 78 miles of rated range, whatever.
We've
that's
got
worth.
an hour. A little bit under an hour. Cool. Okay. Well, that's the cars. Let's just run through Ben's EV ownership history. So these are the cars you guys have now, including the Model S.
Mm-hmm.
What was your first EV? Model X?
Model X 90D, 22s. Well, it had 20s, but
It
it
had
had referral
20s.
wheels to get the 22s on it.
I wanted you to get the silver 22s.
They weren't available.
They were because my dad got them on the 60D.
But they weren't because
The
Marianne,
60D.
shout out to her, I think helped us out with that by because
okay.
we couldn't refer ourselves, but we could
Right.
refer her, and she didn't want the wheels.
And she
anyways.
gave us the wheels.
She gave us the wheels. In case you're wondering, the shortest Tesla range you can probably get is the Model X on 22s.
60 on
60.
22.
You like your
on
dad?
That was what
dad
my dad had,
Yeah.
yeah.
He had 13 miles of range. I had, because I had a 90, I had probably 20 miles of
Yeah,
range.
yeah.
I say range was
After
150.
that one, what did we do? I had a Model 3, or early Model 3 with the Alcantara headliner still.
That's right.
Rear drive, long range,
It was a white car?
white over black. And then I did another
Like
white
every
over
other one of them.
black
Yeah.
Model 3 Performance Stealth. I got it at the same time you got your Model 3 Performance, actually. We did it very similar time.
Right, but so you and I both had rear drive threes.
Yes. And we both upgraded to performances at the same time
Yes.
when the performance came out.
And we did a video track comparing them.
Yeah, we did,
We
actually.
did a head-to-head comparison.
And we determined that the better brakes,
Not that much of a difference.
not that much of a difference, unfortunately.
I feel like there really was.
I
not.
spent $5,000 on nothing.
It felt good to be on the winning side on that one, especially when you had the money tied up in the car a
Right,
little bit.
yeah.
After that, I had a Taycan small battery, base rear drive.
We also did a video with that
Really
one.
liked that
Yep.
car.
We
We
did
drifted
a
the shit out of that.
drifting video with that one, which no one watched, but it was still fun.
No. Well, every once in a while, someone will be like,
Story of the
I think I
Taycan.
saw you drifting a Taycan. And I'm like, hey, someone wants that video.
Yeah.
But it's not very frequent.
Yeah.
And then after that one, I had a Model 3 standard range, like 24 or 23 LFP,
LFP,
car,
yeah.
which was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I remember you liking that. I remember you like kind of not wanting to get it, and then you got it, and you're like, oh, okay.
Then this is the thing that once you've had a Tesla, getting in back in one is so good because they just get like the software, the driver profile stuff, the way your phone links up to it, just this. It's
The
very
little
frictionless.
stuff.
It's
Yeah.
very frictionless. There's not a lot of things that go, why is this? You know, very frustrated.
Yeah,
at it.
like
And
it's
that's
the
very
little stuff you
crucial.
don't think about.
Yeah.
They're really good at doing the stuff that's just natural. Like you don't have to think about it; it just works.
Yeah. Not everything has
So
to be perfect.
it's
You
great.
just have to get rid of any pain and friction points in my daily life. Like just to sit down and flick it into drive and go is awesome. The phone key, reliable, works.
Yeah,
Very
that was
good.
a great daily driver. Like
Yeah.
the Model 3 is still a great.
I think the rear wheel drive is the best one. I
Price
think it's the
daily
most fun.
Yeah. What Jordan has.
yeah.
Yeah.
They brought back the rear wheel long wheel
It's
drive.
so good. And it goes so far.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, that's probably too much range for me. I don't think I want to cover that much range.
385 miles.
That's
Is that what you did in
At
70?
70 miles.
See,
an hour.
I think I want a car that does only 300 miles at 70 at most.
Yeah. Well,
I'm done.
I
would
don't care
rather have
about range,
charging at
just
that
charging.
point. Yeah.
I wish,
Yeah,
I wish
exactly.
this- I would
If I have to
trade.
stop at every charger, but it's 5 or less minutes, I'm in.
That's fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
give me small battery fast charging.
That is one thing I've definitely learned from
Take a
road trips
54
over the years
kilowatt hour
on
pack
EVs.
that charges
Yeah,
at
It's not
range
so much the
doesn't matter.
range; it is charging speed.
I would
That's what
trade,
annoys
yeah.
people sitting at a charger for
Yeah.
30 plus.
because you get to
minutes.
suffer when
Yeah.
you're sitting at the charger.
Yeah.
If you're just pulling in and out quickly,
Especially
it's just
at
part of the
night.
drive.
Yeah, at night when you're just trying to get somewhere
Yeah,
and you're like
the
doing
last thing you want to do
40
is
kilowatts.
plug in. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was us last night.
Last night,
I was like,
40
oh my
kilowatts.
god, we still have 40 minutes.
We had to charge so
It's
deep
just
into
such
the
a
pack,
long
it was
pad,
up at like
or
80% at one point, and we're getting like low 20 kilowatts, like 22 kilowatts. I'm like, I'm looking at the percent on arrival. I'm like, we just need it. Like, if it gives us like 5%, that's enough buffer in this weather to feel safe or whatever. While we're learning the car.
What else, what'd you have after the Model 3? Then Rivian?
Yeah. Like, I had a Cayenne Turbo because I thought that's what I wanted as a daily driver. Turns out it's not because it gets 13 miles per gallon, but it sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does sound good.
But EV wise, yeah.
EV-wise,
EV-wise,
that was
yeah.
a jump to the Rivian. The Rivian's honestly,
Is your dad
Very
going to
perfect.
keep his Model S or is he going to get something else?
we've been talking about that. I think he's a
He
good
should get a
candidate.
Lucid.
I think he would like a Lucid, but he's a tall guy and
Yeah,
it's a low
seating
car.
position
Just like
also
your
is not so
dad
good,
getting in
yeah.
and out of that, it's kind of annoying. They're both similar.
What about Lucid Gravity?
So I could see him in a Gravity. I don't know if he wants something that looks quite so minivan like. Sorry, everyone.
I love it.
It's a good looking car. No, it looks good, but I
does
just don't
look
think
good.
that
More
speaks to
people
him.
need to buy
He
the
likes the
Rivians.
Rivian. He wants to borrow
could
it
be
a
an
few times.
R1S guy.
I think he might be a great R2 candidate.
R2 is what I'm
I think he's a very
so
perfect R2
excited
candidate because
about.
I think that's going to be similar size to their XC60, which they like.
He should get R3X.
There
That's
you
a
go.
little too sporty
No,
for him.
they've got the dog. They want the space.
Yeah, I thought R1S or R2.
I could fit a
when it
lot of
comes
dogs
out.
in an R3X.
Yeah, they don't need the charging infrastructure. And Rivian can charge at Tesla anyway.
Yeah, that's why I think it's a good car for them.
They all can.
Yeah, and by the R2 should have a NACS adapter
NACS native.
built
I
in,
could
right?
see him maybe doing an iX.
No,
Why?
because I think he thinks they're ugly too.
Really?
Oh,
He's
Ben
got good
hates-
opinions on car design, so I think he thinks
Even
they're
the
weird.
new one?
Yeah, I think
New
I've
one
heard
didn't
him
change
describe it
anything,
as
Jordan.
I was going to say
better.
it's
No.
the same.
Yeah, I think he's described it as the beaver car or something.
Yeah.
So which is accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right thing for like them. I at one point I was going to try and convince them to do like a XC40 recharge of some sort, just for like a around town car.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. My mom is probably not really interested in learning an entirely new infotainment system.
Right.
And at least like the buttons are in the same place. So there's that.
I think she would, once they get if they get an R2, I think your mom would drive it, and then she would just drive it.
Yeah. Well, they would
They're
both drive
easy.
it.
Yeah.
My mom's probably most likely person in our family to buy a pickup truck next because she loves gardening.
I was going to say.
So when I got
gardening,
my
yeah.
R1T, I brought it over to show them, and the first thing my mom says, "Oh, the bed's pretty small, isn't it?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Nice to see you too."
So maybe
'cause I'm
she's
like,
a
"What are you
lightning
planning?" She's like,
candidate.
"Well, I was just going to borrow your truck all the time to put like to plants and like trees and stuff in it." I'm like, "Oh." But apparently, she needs like a Ford Lightning.
Yeah,
they need
Pro.
to come out with a single cab long bed for her 8-foot bed. 'Cause that's what she had imagined when she heard I was buying a pickup truck. Apparently,
Not a 4-foot bed lifestyle truck.
I'm a lifestyle kind of guy.
So many of my friends have Rivians, and everyone loves them.
They're great. They don't. It doesn't really do anything wrong. It
It
pulls
doesn't
a lot of
push the
wins.
limits on
No.
engineering in
Absolutely
terms
not.
of
In terms of
making
EVs,
EV stuff.
off-road capability, like
it's
suspension
amazing
design is
off-road.
very amazing.
Yeah.
Now I do think a locker would be nice instead of quad motor, but
I don't like
that's-
the quad motor thing.
The quad motor thing has some issues, limitations off-road, and you
Yeah.
got to drive it very differently. But for like rally stuff, that's fun. That's really fun in it.
Cybertruck's even better at rally.
Oh well, can we test that?
So Rivian has this weird like ESP thing that even if you shut it fully off, it's not off.
I found out how to do it.
What?
Do you know the trick?
No.
Soft sand mode.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
was
soft
gonna
sand
say,
mode
Kyle
is the
knows that.
least.
You can launch
invasive.
it in soft sand and it'll roast the tires on pavement, which they
Yes.
say not to do because your half
I've done
shafts
it a
will
few
start
times.
clicking.
Well, they already clicked, so I need new ones.
That's a good way to
Send
force
it.
it.
I need them to stop. I need them to click once really loudly so that they'll warranty it.
Yeah.
Because it'll be a click and then the vehicle won't move.
They've done mine 5 or 6 times.
Oh my god.
Maybe that's why
Keep
they said
coming
no to
back.
me because they're like, oh, we got to keep these on stock for Kyle.
They are great on service for me, but I just hate bringing it in for service
Yeah.
because it's an hour away.
Yeah.
And they never give me a loaner.
Sorry, I had to drive 6 hours round trip
Oh,
to
you
go
got
get
to go to
ours.
Atlanta.
No, we had to go to
Richmond's
Richmond.
3 hours
Oh,
each
Richmond.
way.
And Ben couldn't even bring the truck. I had to drive
Yeah,
it up
Mike
there.
was very kind and brought it
Why?
up there.
2
I
hours
was
because of a
busy.
work schedule thing.
Oh, and then did they give you a loaner?
No, they did not have a loaner, but they
RAV4.
gave me a RAV4 rental car.
That's what I fear.
I'm getting a RAV4.
Yeah.
And so like when I went,
RAV4.
so like
Biggest fear.
they picked me
Jump
up,
scare,
right?
RAV4.
And it was really funny. Like I was there, and apparently like the enterprise guy was there, but like I was talking to the service advisor, and then I was like, okay, he's right outside. I walked outside, he was gone. He just left without me. So they had to call, and then the manager came back to pick me up, and then they still gave me an effing RAV4. And I was trying to be like, oh, do you have anything like a
EV?
pickup truck at least,
Yeah.
or an EV? And they're like, we have 0 cars. It's this, or you can wait till we get cars from the airport. And I'm
You
like,
can
I'll
walk
take the
or you
RAV4.
can get a RAV4 and you're going to like it.
That's so annoying.
They're opening one in Raleigh, though.
Yes, I
they
know.
just started doing service appointments recently. So
and
good
the
news.
Charlotte people have to go to Atlanta.
I think Charlotte's getting a service center too.
Good.
I
Well,
heard
they
opened
need
up
it. North
this
Carolina.
I still don't understand, why North Carolina is always behind on the service centers
Well,
for
North
every
Carolina as a whole
upstart.
is like a million years behind the times, but like there's like 4 or 5 really big metro cities in the state that are like very modern and have lots of EVs,
like
and
Lucid.
Stuff like
There's just 2 large metro cities.
that. No, Raleigh, Charlotte,
That's it.
Greensboro area
No.
is pretty big. Yeah, it's not that big. That's fair.
Greensboro's
Wilmington.
not that nice of an area.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got 2 big cities.
Yeah.
But look, what state doesn't have just 2 big cities? Colorado.
argue
you only have 1
Asheville.
big city.
That's true.
It's what really big.
This is the 3rd largest city in Colorado,
What's the second?
Colorado Springs.
Oh, okay, that does make sense.
But it's all military down there.
Oh, that makes
What
sense.
was the? Was it Yakima?
Yeah.
Yakima. One of the charging
I
stops.
only
we're at?
remember it because it's named after a roof rack.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the roof rack's
they
named
have,
after
when you pull into when you go into Yakima, they have the sign that says the Palm Springs of Washington, and I was like, what?
Yes, it said it on a billboard, and then we stopped, we got food at one of our longer charging sessions. It was next to a Bob's Burgers.
It was good, by the way. Shout out Bob's Burgers.
And inside where we were sitting, it had that same thing, Yakima, the Palm Springs
Why would that be?
of Washington.
Of the Pacific
Yeah,
Northwest.
I was like, what? And
Palm Springs is like drug infested. Everyone's burning.
SoCal.
Everyone's skin looks like leather because they've gotten
Yeah.
too much sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's because of the arid climate that Yakima has compared to the wetter eastern side of the state. It's what we were told.
It was
No
still
one
pretty
would
So I'm
wet
not
there,
taking
if I'm
ownership
honest.
of that. But I was
That's
like,
a
it's still the
branding
weirdest thing I've ever
exercise
seen.
if I've ever seen one.
They're trying and it's not working.
No.
So you guys got to come back and visit more.
All right.
Well, now we have a Model S. It's a fantastic road trip car.
I think
Is
we'll
it?
fly.
It's not hard to get
Well,
here.
we'll see how it does in the
You can
10%
get direct
challenge. That
flights
might be
pretty easy.
revealing. I think it won't be the worst one. That's about all I can say, though.
I mean, we'll see.
Depends what you compare it to.
I'm just excited to see it on the graph.
So
Very far to the right.
thank you guys for coming. We'll have I don't know when this podcast is going up, tomorrow or
Sometime.
okay.
It'll take 3
Sometime.
hours to export.
Oh yeah, maybe.
3 hours.
But this will go up probably before the Model S videos go up on the other platforms. So stay tuned to see how it
Yeah.
all goes.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
Should you buy a cheap, high mileage Tesla?
Yes, I think is the answer.
I think yes is the
But
answer.
I think
I think it's
specifically
generally yes.
find one without a large drive unit.
Without a large drive unit, yeah.
19 or newer, I would
if you-
say, for Model S.
Do buy a large drive unit one. Make sure it has
Get
the
it
coolant
fixed.
delete. But it's $5,000 to do the coolant delete.
Honestly,
Really?
that-
Through
you could-
like conduit and stuff?
Yeah,
I mean,
big
there are
job,
some
huh?
early Model S's with high
it's-
miles out there that are like $5,000 to buy.
yeah.
It's
but
like
then,
$3,000 now, I think.
oh, is it 3?
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
still a lot of money
Get one with
relative to
small
the
drive
car.
units. Ignore the
Yeah.
performance cars.
Yeah.
Ignore the rear drive cars.
Yeah.
Get yourself
They-
a 75, 90, 100D or a something dual
Just
motor.
a dual
and
motor,
just
not
enjoy.
performance.
And
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause
preferably
it's fast.
MC2
4
upgrade
seconds
already.
is not a slow car, and you'll have a good time.
Yeah, I really think that 2019, 2018
I think
is the
that's
sweet spot.
The sweet spot.
Yeah,
Of
Find
and you
a
could
Raven
still have
maybe a
warranty.
17.
Because then you get one pedal driving. 17 didn't have one pedal
No.
driving.
No, well, yeah, 19
But
was the first year one
18,
pedal driving.
19,
Oh,
though.
okay. So
Yeah,
19.
I think like
19's the golden
anything that says long range plus, standard range, performance. Like
Right. What was
you know,
long range plus, by the way?
Long
that-
range plus wasn't that
It had the faster charging.
improved? Yeah, so they got the 200 kilowatt charging ability because they got the bigger wires in the charge port, and they also got improved wheel bearings for lower rolling resistance to get a little more range out of them.
very minute stuff. But the charging though is
So is that the same battery that's in my Plaid then?
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
revision. Maybe a
It did
different revision.
250 kilowatt charging or 200?
I think they were like in the 150 to 180 range, and then they did like beefier wiring, and I think that got them over the 200. I don't think
Just
a
over.
Raven car will do 250. I don't think so.
It's amazing how recent actually the 250 kilowatt charging thing is for Model S, considering Model 3 was doing it in 2017.
Right.
But not
Yeah.
great. I mean,
Not great, but the early
It would
Model
do
3s
it.
are still the best charging Model 3s. Like Timon's battery and my battery,
have they gone down a little?
we can add more kilowatt hours in a charging session than even the new bigger battery Model 3 battery.
With the
Wow.
all the different cell providers they went through over the time did have
Yeah.
a big change.
I
Yeah,
think
like
we have
remember
the
you want the
Panasonic.
Panasonic or you want the LG battery and stuff.
Right. So the small Panasonic is better than the big Panasonic, which both of them are better than the LG.
Very interesting.
LG sucks.
I think
With battery.
I
With
would
that
like
specific battery.
Yeah.
to like be able to buy an EV going, oh, give me your best cells. I don't care about density. I want C rate. That's all I want.
Yeah, so
Hit me with
many
the C
companies. I actually was just talking to the head of powertrain engineering at Lucid, Imad Dalala, about this in a podcast, and then we talked a little bit afterwards. And he basically, and we're going to do a podcast with them on how to choose the right cell for your EV in terms
I'd
of a
love to know the
manufacturer.
trade-off balances.
And it's insane. And C rate isn't directly tied to kilowatt hour capacity. He's like, we can make a small battery charge really fast. That's what Zeekr does. And then the big batteries charge slower. And it has to do with like grain size, electrode thickness, all this other stuff that you don't find information about online.
No.
Yeah,
And
I can
so
imagine.
I'm going to go hang out with them for a little bit and do a series on how to choose the right cell. They're like, let's get through the gravity ramp up situation and then we can do that.
I think
be fun.
insight from that knowledge would be really interesting because like Teslas have traditionally not had an amazing charge curve. And I always wonder why. You know, what is their limiting factor? What are the factors that made them choose these trade-offs that led to that versus something else? And I
They
think it'd
probably
be
lead
cool
to
know.
cost.
I think so, especially nowadays.
Ultimately, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that plays a big factor,
Mm-hmm.
especially 4680 sucks.
That's what everyone says.
Yeah. I mean, I own them.
Secret-
They're really
yeah,
bad.
I was going to say. You
At
have
50%
experience.
in my truck, I'm doing 1C.
Wow.
That is
So I'm
bad.
doing 120, 130, maybe 140, but that's pulling in some cooling.
Yeah. Wow. So it's actually C rate curve not that far off of this Model S we've just been talking about being miserable, shockingly.
Right, because it's a bigger battery. So I'm doing at 50%, I'm doing 135-ish kilowatts
Wow.
in the Cyber.
This car is maybe
That's
just
twice
it's
the
like
battery.
0.9 probably 0.9 C in the Model S right now at 50%.
So there you go. No innovation in terms
Yeah,
of charging.
so bottom line, upgrade your charging Tesla.
Yeah, that's been the
And Rivian, please too.
yeah.
Thank
And
Thankfully, the community's getting on them now.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
think
think
more
between
people
our
are
videos and
starting
every
to.
others, people
And I
are
think
like,
more people are starting to just road trip their cars and realizing, like, man, I could go. This Taycan does charging in half the time, or this Ioniq 5
Oh, yeah.
does charging in half the time of my Model 3.
What was interesting is we did the race I-90 Surge, and Ioniq 6 and Model 3 were neck and neck within 15 minutes, right, Jordan?
Yep.
And you both optimized really well.
Yep.
So the Ioniq 6 is actually a faster road tripper, but the charging stations are farther from the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the determining factor.
But we also use a lot of V2 chargers, so it's
Right.
like if we had our optimal chargers, we would have beat them by more.
Yeah.
But still, there was
And they had thermal issues that you didn't have. They were thermal derating at times.
I think
Still
one interesting
impressive,
thing will be as more cars join the Tesla network and as the Tesla network starts to support high voltage, quicker charging stuff, you'll start to have owners who've been like, oh, they pull up in their Model 3 and they see someone in an Ioniq pull up, plug in, and leave in an amount of time that seems kind of short compared to what they're doing.
That's the Taycan thing to do.
The Taycan thing. Yeah,
Just show up.
And again, high voltage
Run
sports
right over.
crucial
That's
for
the
that.
best feeling in the world, is to roll up dead in a Taycan, charge to 85%, and then get the heck out of there. And the next guy's gained like 20%.
Yeah. The Taycan charging stop is like the mic drop at a charging station. Everyone's like, who was that? How are they gone?
And now you compare that to Chinese EVs, and it's slow.
That's,
I know.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
mine.
Wild.
Neo ET9, 600 kilowatt charging. Don't know the curve, but probably pretty good.
I would imagine.
They're all pretty juicy.
They're all
Hey,
pretty good.
You know, we always say it's the curve and not the peak, but if the peak is so high,
Then the curve's got to be okay.
the curve that can't be that. The curve's got to be short, for it to be bad. Like any amount of charging at 600 kilowatts is, a lot of energy still.
Yeah. Well, we got to go rescue Ryan soon.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you guys for coming to stop in on your trip.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. It was fun. Good to be back on the podcast in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
to see.
Well, thanks everyone for watching the Spec podcast. Let us know what you learned, or if you tuned out, you're not even watching this now. But
Yeah, they're not listening.
Nobody's actually watching
if
this.
you're still here, leave a comment. Let us know. Count how many cars Ben talked about.